And welcome back to the CarGurus 200 from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. I'm Dave Bradley, now joined in the booth by Adam Ross as the field is lined up behind not one but two pace cars. So the official pace car from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, but the official pace car of the NASCAR Canada Series in 2026. And that one with the Napa livery on it. It is a beautiful job. Of course, Napa coming on as the official automotive aftermarket retail store of NASCAR in Canada. And it will be used as the official pace car throughout the 2026 season, so you'll see an increased presence of Napa at NASCAR Canada Series races across the country.
It's definitely beautiful, Dave. What a field of cars. Now, I am expecting here at some point Tyler Gonzalez, driver of that number 38, to drop off to the side of the racetrack, let the whole field go by because of the repairs they had to make to that race car. The good news is he gets to race today. The bad news is he is supposed to forfeit his starting spot.
Thing is, though, it is a long race. 51 laps here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and realistically for Tyler Gonzalez, we know he's a fast driver. He was quick in practice. He was quick in qualifying. He clocked the 10th quickest time before having some trouble in that qualifying period. So he has the ability to make his way up through the field. That's why the crew thrashed all night to get that car fixed.
Oh, my goodness. Kevin Lacroix, big problems on the 74. Smoke coming out from under the wheel well, it looks like, in the right front corner of that 74, an early season favorite.
And there goes Kevin Lacroix down pit lane. So, yes, you're right. He is an early season favorite. He was a favorite to win today's race as well. I'm not sure if it's a tire down or if it's a suspension problem, but definitely issues in the left front corner of the Carlisle number 74. And this has to be heartbreaking for that team, as they were quietly optimistic, and it looks like they're ready with the wheel gun to take that right front tire off. And that is a huge surprise for a tire problem on the warm-up lap.
Well, it does make sense, and I don't think that's a tire. I think perhaps a wheel bearing, perhaps a brake caliper seized. Oh my goodness, look at the groove around the center of that tire. Something has collapsed inside that race car, and it is digging into the very center of the groove of that McCreary slick.
Yeah, we're just going through the starting lineup, and Kevin Lacroix was expected to start in row number 3 alongside Andrew Ranger. That obviously will not happen now, as he is a long pit lane, and it looks to be catastrophic suspension issues in the right front corner. We thought it might be a tire down, maybe you pick up some debris or something like that, but it is not. There is Kevin Lacroix, and row number 4 will have Will LaRue and DJ Kennington.
I'm trying to imagine what that issue could be.
And row number 5, fellows, and that's where Gonzalez was expected to line up. And then row number 6 will have Alex Guinnett and LP Dumoulin. We take a look back to row number 7. That's where we find Connor Bell, who was the quickest in practice, but unfortunately couldn't translate that into a quick qualifying time in the 3. He'll start alongside Malcolm Strawn. Ryan Clute and JP Bergeron will make up row number 8. Looking back to row number 9, that's where we find Matthew Kingsbury and Simon Charbonneau. Ripped off the yellow rookie stripe Simon Charbonneau did before starting this weekend's race. Larry Jackson in a full season in the 84. He'll start alongside Dave Corso. Row 11 is Dexter Stacy and Brad Ranson making his first start. Dominic Scrivo in the 69 and Josh Hurley in the 24. That's row number 12. Looking back to row number 13, Daryl Timmers and Ron Tomlinson. Sylvain Ouellette in the 73 and Glenn Stiers in the 0. In row number 14, Jeff Johnson in the 14 will start to the inside of row 15. David Thorndike and Jacques Guinnett Sr. and Keith Bean did not register a time in qualifying. He will not make a start, so it'll be 31 cars coming to green.
Well, it might be 30 cars coming to green, Dave, if the Lacroix crew can't get their race car sorted out. I'm trying to imagine what it could be that could create a groove through the right front tire like that. And I can't visualize it.
Something had to have it was leaned down so much it could have been a body that was leaning on the tire, because that tire was stuffed up inside the fender well of the 74 car as he was coming to pit lane. It was a huge whatever it was, but it obviously had a huge impact on that car and the ability to start the race. So Kevin Lacroix on pit lane will not take the green as the pace car looks to pit lane.
The CarGurus 200. Gary Clute on the pole in the 71. Marc-Antoine Cameron in the GM Paillet number 96 on the outside pole. Door to door, wheel to wheel off of turn number 10. 15 rows of stock cars ready to put the hammer down.
Green flag is up and they thunder towards turn number 1 so far, 2 by 2. And in a couple cases, looking for 3 wide. Everybody sorts it out. We managed to get through turn 1 cleanly as we head towards turn number 2 for the first time.
The field towards the back doing a nice job getting themselves single file. In the middle, though, still some battles as it looks like Malcolm Strong took a big wide run off of turn number 2.
Look at these cars slide in the early going as they still try and build some heat in these McCreary tires. And it'll take a little while for them to come up to proper operating temperature. Gary Clute has that car planted, though. The Autologic number 71 is looking good. It's Gannett slides to the inside. Should say Alex Gannett slides to the inside of the 47 of LP Dumoulin.
LP Dumoulin's got some help from Connor Bell. If there's one thing we know about that EHR number 3 team, it's got some steam under the hood.
Watch, they will draft down this Andretti straightaway. It's long enough that you do pick up a toe, and it's important to try and tuck in behind the car in front of you as DJ Kennington leads the way ahead of the 87 of Sam Fellows and Will LaRue in the 47. They will come through turn number 10, completing lap number 1. So race leader in race number 1, lap number 1 is the 71 of Gary Clute.
And I called Malcolm Strong off the track. I think it might have been Simone Charbonneau. It was a red car, I can tell you that much. But a good clean opening lap here. Now we wait to see if Kevin Lacroix and that 74 team can get him back into action. But at the front, how hard can you push these McCreary Racing tires? Nobody knows. Even on test days, it hasn't been this hot. It has not been this sunny. These teams just don't know how the tire will perform over the course of a tire run.
And they did a tire test early in the season. Once they had the McCreary tires, they knew exactly what they were going to use. They brought some teams out. They did a tire test here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. It was in April. The track was very, very different. Didn't have a lot of rubber into it. So the degradation, the tire wear was pretty high on the tires. The reports back from some of the teams, they expect it to be not as bad now. The track is obviously rubbered up. We've had a lot of series running over the course of the weekend here this weekend. But again, it's the question mark. How long do you go? How far can you push these tires? Will anybody go with a 2-tire stop? We just don't know.
I can tell you one thing, the DNA of Marc-Antoine Cameron in that 96, he is not capable of letting someone drive away from him. He wants to be at the front, he wants to lead. If he's not going to lead, he is going to go move for move, corner for corner with Gary Clute.
He wants to lead, and he wants to lead the most laps, and that's what he's doing. Look at the pressure from the other GM Paillet car, Andrew Ranger, now to the inside in turn number 3. Alex Tagliani saw that one coming a mile away. Backs off the go pedal a little bit and lets the 27 go. That's a smart move from Tagliani early in this race.
You want to hear a story?
I love stories.
Earlier in the paddock, I'm coming out of the NASCAR hauler and I see someone standing with his arms crossed, just standing back from all the haulers by himself. It's Andrew Ranger. Oh, we're gonna have a replay of something on the screen here. And that's the pass of Andrew Ranger. Comes off at turn number 2, sweeps wide on corner exit, dives to the inside of 3, and makes that pass. So I walked up to him and sort of didn't startle him at all. I was just standing here taking it in because I've never done that. So just kind of enjoying the moment. We know Andrew Ranger from being a young lion and winning that first NASCAR Canada Series title in 07. He would drive anything. It's an interesting new Andrew Ranger trying to enjoy what he's got. It looked like he might not race this year. Things had fallen apart a little bit. and I think he just appreciates being here. The moral of that story, I think he's in a really good mindset to make the most of his day.
I think you're right. As look for the lead from the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron to the inside of turn number 3. Again, lots of daylight between him and Gary Clute as they go side by side towards turn number 4. Clute's going to have the preferred line to the inside of 4. That's nearly a flat-out corner, and somebody's got to brake towards turn number 5, and it's going to be Clute that backs off. So give the race lead to the GM Paillet Chevrolet Canada number 96, so Marc-Antoine Cameron.
I believe Clute probably could have crossed over there between 5A and 5B to try to make something of it to fight back, but I almost think he did enough. Off of 3, off of 4, good, hard, clean battle, set the tone. Okay, you go out there. I'm going to play mouse for a little bit, or I'm going to play cat for a little bit. You can be mouse.
Now he's creating a book. He's doing his homework for what's going to happen later in the race, and we'll get another chance to see that pass for the lead as Marc-Antoine Cameron set it up coming through turn number 3. They went side by side through 4 and then finished it off right there. And I think that was more Gary Clute easing up. And again, like you say, probably could have fought a little bit harder, but now he gets to find out where he's a little bit better than the 96 on the racetrack.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming out this weekend. I have never seen a crowd like this for Victoria Day Speed Fest weekend as Malcolm Strong is down pit road and the Curb Records number 98 to the attention of his crew. This is not a scheduled pit stop.
No, and you can see the hood going up on the Jim Auto Sport number 98. So that is heartbreak for Malcolm Strong, former podium finisher here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in the NASCAR Canada Series. And again, did show flashes of speed again over the course of this weekend. Was up inside the top 10 at times and in lap times. And there's another problem too for one of the first-time drivers here in the series. That's the 28 of Brad Ranson.
Ranson in the pits with the hood up. It was hard to tell the difference whether that was DJ Kennington or Ranson at first, but good call there, Dave.
Ranson's driving the Wallace Chevrolet, so the Chevrolet badged Camaro, and of course DJ Kennington I don't think has gone very far from driving a Dodge in the NASCAR Canada Series or the CASCAR Series before that. He has always been a Dodge man.
And look at this, the field's starting to compress just a little bit. I'd say it's about an 8-car breakaway at the front. LP Dumoulin 9th, Connor Bell in 10th, Tyler Gonzalez just outside of the top 10. But nobody is really getting... Wow, Alex Tagliani, all sorts of loose there in turn number 2. Kyle Steckley closes in on the number 80, does not attempt to pass, but Alex Tagliani in that 80 had his hands full.
Well, he's been fighting that car, but he's still very quick. The leaders aren't really getting too far away from the Ben GRM number 80 of Alex Tagliani, but he is loose all over the place. Turn number 3 has been crossways. Watch him try to get to the power here from turn 5. It sticks okay here. That's been a problem spot as well for that team. But yeah, Tagliani might be reporting back soon of what he'll need done to that car when pit stops happen a little bit later on.
I'm going to have a look at turn 9. There's not very many left-hand turns on this track. So turn 2 is a real handful for Tagliani. We should get a good view of him coming through turn 9, and we'll see if it's only really the left-hand turns that are troubling that driver. Yeah, he is slow in the left-hand turns. You can see Kyle Steckley really on attack mode there. Kyle Steckley knows it.
And that's one of the best passing opportunities that has developed in the NASCAR Canada Series. Swing out wide in turn number 9. You keep the power down, and then you get to the inside of turn number 10. You can jam your nose in there. Maybe a little contact. But
I was waiting for that.
Sometimes it happens, but it is a passing opportunity. And for these cars and these drivers at their caliber, passing opportunities are few and far between, so you have to take them where they come.
And we saw some really pretty passes. They make it look easy, but it is definitely not. Now we've got a trio at the front. Andrew Ranger has just about caught that lead duo. They have broken away slightly from Tagliani, and this is absolutely normal for this race. DJ Kennington's got to be ecstatic with where he is running right now. in the 6th spot. He can see the leaders up ahead. He's just logging laps.
Sam Fellows in there too in the AER number 87. Will LaRue, again, his very first starts on a road course in the NASCAR Canada Series. But listen to what Will LaRue has been able to do behind the wheel of a NASCAR Canada Series car. He's had 5 starts in the series. He's had 1 win and 3 second-place finishes. 1 DNF, and that came in his very first start. But yeah, it's been a wild ride for Will LaRue as Kyle Steckley does come through on the inside of turn number 10. They'll drag race him and Tagliani down into turn number 1. Tagliani will relent and give up that spot, 4th spot now for the 22 of Kyle Steckley.
Tyler Gonzalez on pit road to the attention of that crew. And again, unscheduled, because you can see the crew throwing their helmets on their heads, jumping over the wall. He cleared off the front end of that race car yesterday in a crash. Everything from the radiator forward was basically destroyed, had to be rebuilt, refabricated, and reinstalled on that race car.
Well, you can see there was no brand stickers, no headlights on the front bumper of that car. Because that was a luxury that they didn't have. They had everything back on and theoretically back together, but looks like issues for Tyler Gonzalez, and the hood goes up, and it's looking like smoke comes out with that hood going up. So,
oh, there is oil. You can see the oil running down the fender, so something is sprayed up the underside of the hood. That is usually terminal.
But that's something that the NASCAR officials are going to take a look at, and they'll ask their spotters and they'll ask the corner workers if they can spot any oil around the track, because as soon as you have a car on pit lane leaking oil, that could mean that that car was leaking oil out on the racetrack. It doesn't look like too much of a problem. And they just gave the international symbol to Tyler Gonzalez that we're done for the day.
They had a lot of confidence. Mike Gowdy, that car owner, Tyler Gonzalez, despite the issues they had. Oh, this is going to be a problem. That is Jeff Johnson in the 14. Broke a transmission yesterday in practice, then in qualifying snapped the shifter off.
Oh, that's a frustrating weekend to say the least, and running in front of a majority of a hometown crowd. He's from nearby Midhurst, Ontario, so about an hour and a half drive from here as the local caution. That is the waved blue flag, now a full course caution for the slowing number 14 down the back straightaway. So they'll have to send a wrecker out, get Johnson back to pit lane, as he's unable to do so on his own. But Marc-Antoine Cameron continues to lead in the early going of the CarGurus 200. And welcome back to the NASCAR Canada Series, race number 1, the CarGurus 200 at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, as we continue under caution for a stopped car down the Andretti straightaway. That was Jeff Johnson in the 14, so this gives the teams an opportunity to take a quick break, but it's a little bit too early. They're not quite in their fuel window, so pit stops will be unlikely at this point. They could happen at this point, but most of the teams were saying probably lap 15 for fuel, a little bit later for tires is what they were looking at.
Right, and the fuel strategy really shouldn't change from years past, but the tire strategy definitely will. You know what I noticed, Dave, as we're seeing cameras all around the racetrack, there was a lot of Canadian flags on display this weekend. It is really, really cool.
It is neat, and there's a lot of people here too. What a weekend weather-wise for this first race of the NASCAR Canada Series season, and what a crowd we have here at Canada's track, the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, just steeped in history here at this facility. There you can see some of the people who've been camping out all weekend long, enjoying all of the weekend's races, including NASCAR Canada Series practice qualifying in today's event, the CarGurus 200. Look at that.
The hill on the front straightaway. Give yourselves a round of applause, race fans. You made the right choice today. The Victoria Day weekend is a weekend where you can do anything you want. You chose to come to the racetrack. We hope you are entertained. This is just fantastic. I was talking to Miles Brandt in pre-race off the microphone. I said, you know, you can't host this event and create this. You have to build it. And they have spent years and years rejuvenating CTMP, making improvements, making it an experience for whether you come in on Wednesday to camp for the whole weekend or if you just show up on race day. It is going to be a great experience. Gary Clute peels off the racetrack onto pit road. I love it when Dave Bradley lies to me.
Alex Tagliani also down pit lane. LP Duboulet is going to do the same. So this will likely be a fuel stop for your second place driver, the Auto Logic number 71 of Gary Clute. Yes, Gulf Fuel going in the back, but they're having some trouble.
Having problems getting the fuel can engaged. He had to take a few runs at it.
Hood is up on Alex Tagliani. There, number 80. So this is not a planned pit stop for...
I think it is. I think he's making an adjustment. That car is just handling so badly. He has to slow down in those left-hand turns. We've seen numerous drivers able to overtake him. Now is a good time. They were doing an air pressure adjustment in the right rear, and they had that long adjustment wrench in the front end. So Alex Tagliani is meticulous in what he wants in the setup of his race car.
He's holding there on pit lane, and yeah, they're going to take this opportunity, the Tagliani team, to take on some fuel. So you're right, they did make some changes, setup changes on the front end of the number 80. A number of other drivers did come down pit lane as well. LP Duboulet was one of them. Again, a splash of fuel. And the thing is, this race distance is just a little bit out of reach from a one-tank race. You need to stop for fuel or you will run out. And so they'll run... Usually it's around 13 to 15 laps just to give themselves that extra little cushion in the event of we going to NASCAR overtime. But, I mean, in this case, it might be a little bit tight. So the thing is, the drivers who stopped are super experienced in this series, and they can save fuel just by the way they drive.
No points championship contenders came into pit. Alex Tagliani isn't running for a driver's championship.
Yes, he is. He's going to run the ovals in the 3 car.
Different car, so yes. That he won't be for the owner. You're right.
Yeah, the 47 came in. He's also running for a championship. Look at I proved you wrong for once. This is amazing.
Did 47 come in there?
He did come in. He made a quick stop. So the tech team took care of him. That's something that LP Duboulet, I talked to him yesterday down in the paddock area, and I was talking, trying to get as much as I can out of LP Duboulet, which is like trying to crack Fort Knox.
I got something.
You did?
Do you have a story?
I barely got anything. So he sort of gives me a wink and a smile, but he says, I have a very good pit crew. So that gave me an indication he was happy to come down pit lane a couple of times.
So what happened yesterday, he was second fastest in practice. And then he laid an egg in qualifying outside the top 10. He said, Adam, my throttle wasn't sticking open, but it was sticking at about 30%. So when he would let off the throttle, it wasn't coming back to an idle. He said, it was really hard to hang on to the car. He says, I was pulling up with my foot, trying to pull the gas pedal back. And you can't do that. Everything has to work fluidly. But they were hard at work this morning trying to get all the linkage right. He wasn't sure what was hanging up that throttle. But that's what cost him about a second a lap in qualifying.
Still managed to qualify inside the top 15 to the 47 team. So it gives you an idea of what kind of stout piece he brings to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And there you see him in the WeatherTech Dodge coming up over the hill just behind Sylvain Ouellette in the 73, making his first start. So yeah, LP Duboulet came out first ahead of Gary Clute, Smo Charbonneau, Larry Jackson in the Superior Propane, number 84. He also made a stop down pit lane. So several drivers showing us their strategy early on. And how about this one now? Yeah, Matthew Kingsbury coming in to make his stop in the Dura King Chevrolet, and the 69 of Dominic Scrivo also down pit lane.
Is there anyone happier to be here than Dominic Scrivo? Just a big smile on his face. He loves being involved in this. He got a top 10 finish at Calabogie last season. And when I went to congratulate him on it, he says, well, 4 cars in front of me crashed on the last lap. It doesn't matter. The statistics, history doesn't care that those drivers crashed on the last lap. It's a top 10 is a top 10.
Yeah, there's no room in the stats card to say what happened. It's just that it happened. And for Dominic Scrivo coming home with his first career top 10 on a road course at Calabogie, which is a very tricky facility that the series will return to later this season. But there you can see the 38 of Tyler Gonzalez, and the Muskoka Mod Center backed Ford is being pushed behind the wall now, so they'll load it up early, unfortunately.
Yeah, some frustration there on the pit crew and that team. And going back to Dominic Scrivo, even if he finished 13th or 14th, wherever he was running, that's a great drive. That is well ahead of where he qualified.
Yep. Continuing under caution with Marc-Antoine Camerand out in front. Andrew Ranger is now in second place, and there is the 14 of Johnson. So that was the reason for the caution, stalling down the back straightaway, and it looks like any repairs that are needed won't be able to be made on pit road, so he's going to end this day early.
So for those watching the stream, depending on what the cameras pick up on, the choose rule is in effect this season in NASCAR Canada. So going down the back straightaway on the lap where we're going to choose, the pace car will move over to the right side of the racetrack, and the pace car driver will put out two fingers shaped like a V, to indicate to drivers you are going to have to choose right around the Canadian Tire Bridge. Which does make me wonder, if it's a single file restart, does the pace car driver just put one finger out the window?
Probably not the one finger you're thinking of.
Give the old one-gun salute to the field?
No. As you can see, the hand out the window from the pace car driver, and it is the Andretti straightaway. If you look at a track map, it is cut up into about 3 different corners. So you have 5C at the entrance to the straightaway, then there's a small kink that's considered turn 6, and then there's another small kink to consider turn 7. So it's just after turn 7, and you're right, just after the Canadian Tire Bridge down the back straightaway, and that's where they will choose, either inside or outside. There you can see the graphic on the ground. They painted it on the racetrack itself. So that's where you have to split off. Make your choice now. Do you want to roll the dice and go to the outside, or stay single file on the inside in turn number 1?
And don't touch the box. Right now, everybody is going where they should be, except for, is that Connor Bell, who elected outside instead of inside. So Alex Gannett is going to sneak up 1 row.
That's interesting. A few of the drivers taking outside when the inside was still open. So that's a little bit of strategy. So the first time we get to see the choose rule at play here in the NASCAR Canada Series, and already we're a little bit surprised at what choices are being made.
What I like about choosing the outside, drivers left here at CTMP, is you have a lot more options exiting turn 1. If you're on the inside, it's a wall on the inside, there's a row of cars on the outside.
We can tell you the 74, it was a ball joint failure, and that's the reason that car spent a lot of time on pit lane. So unfortunately, a small part led to a major failure for the 74 team as we work our way through the Pinty's restart zone and back to green as we head towards turn number 1.
Marc-Antoine Camerand with a great start. He'll lead the way down into turn number 2. Andrew Ranger drops into the 2nd spot. Kyle Steckley, DJ Kennington, and running out the top 5, Sam Fellows in that blue AER number 87.
It's a good day to be a red, black, and white car at the front of the field. All 3 of them nose to tail, and then you have DJ Kennington in the number 17 holding down 4th as we fall single file on the exit of turn number 3, headed through 4 for the first time back under green.
There's not a lot of, there's no teammates out there on the racetrack, but I can promise you the drivers at the front all want to get single file as quickly as they can, because they know there were fast cars that pitted. So if you race side by side, those fast cars can close right in and take advantage. If you get single file as quickly as possible, it's going to be harder for those cars to close in. So again, Adam Ross and Dave Bradley calling the action here at CTMP. Great to have you in the booth, Dave. It's an honor for me to be in the booth. Love this job. Whoa! DJ Kennington, a long slide through turn number 9. Sam Fellows had to check up. Contact with Will LaRue. Sam Fellows goes around.
Into the wall on the front straightaway off of turn number 10. Sam Fellows watching the entire field go by. And this is heartbreak for Sam Fellows in the AER number 87. He was having such a great run comfortably inside the top 10. Not significant damage to the back end of that Chevrolet Camaro, but a loss of a tremendous amount of track real estate.
This is where, if you're Sam Fellows' spotter, which is, I believe, his dad, Ron Fellows, stay calm. There's no visible damage to the race car. We haven't gone through any pit cycles yet, so just relax. Unfortunate circumstance, but what created that circumstance was not so much the driver behind Sam Fellows. There was definitely contact. Sam had to react to DJ Kennington having a really bad turn 9, and it got him offline and off.
Now sort of in the wrong place at the wrong time as DJ Kennington continues in fourth spot. We're going to get another chance to see this one again. Yeah, there's Kennington. It's a four-wheel slide off of turn number 9. And then Fellows goes to the outside to avoid. Will LaRue plugs the hole, and then Fellows and LaRue make contact, and that sends the 87 around.
And Will LaRue really did nothing wrong there. Opportunity knocked. He answered. I think Sam Fellows might have been a little surprised. But that, as they say, is racing. Everybody's still out on the racetrack.
Sam Fellows is the last car on the racetrack as it sits right now in 26th position. So that's what happens when that spin takes place and there's no gaps to get back in. They were just on a restart, so it was all a long single file snake.
He has already made a pass. He went around Jacques Guimet. So Fellows still in the hunt, and a lot of things are going to transpire as this race carries on.
Gary Clute still picking his way back through this field. Remember, he was in second when he decided to come down pit lane to take on an allotment of Gulf fuel. Did not make any handling changes as Connor Bell gets a little bit loose under braking and then nearly gets contact from the E-Racer number 1 of JP Bergeron, but great move, and it's going to stick for the Diamond Storage number 3.
That was a slide job. He just executed a slide job into turn 5 at CTMP.
Sure did. So Connor Bell now up into the 7th position in the 3 car. And you mentioned it. He had a lot of speed in that car in practice, was turning a lot of heads, and then unfortunately could not lay down the lap that he needed in qualifying, so he had to come through the field, and one driver's down pit lane, and it's DJ Kennington, the Castrol Dodge.
Coming to complete lap 15, I've got to believe the scheduled stop. And if I had to guess, he's going to load that 17 full of fuel.
He's got to watch his speed at this point, and that is difficult when you see the cars flying by on the outside. There's the crew ready with the Gulf fuel.
And interesting, they used 2 of them to make sure that can was engaged. It looks like they might be having some problems as well. The fuel was spewing out the overflow, which generally is the sign, hey, I'm full.
Yeah, pack it full, and they did. So DJ Kennington down and away. And again, he loses all that track position, but a lot of drivers in front will have to do the same thing. As 17 did, we'll tell you where he will rejoin once the field comes around and time scoring gets updated. But there's your top 3 at the front of the field, and there's no gap at all between the top 3. Essentially, I was going to say the top 2 because Andrew Ranger has stepped up right underneath the back bumper of the 96.
And make no mistake, the 96 and the 27 look very similar. They are not teammates. They will race as hard as 2 people will race each other for success. It is fun to watch. There are no team orders because they are not a team.
Josh Hurley in the BC Race Cars number 24 holding off Alex Tagliani. Pit stop time now for Alex Guinet in the DLGL number 39, and Connor Bell also down pit lane in the Diamond Storage number 3.
Alex Tagliani just made a pass in turn 10, which tells me he's getting through turn 9 a lot better than he was. So whatever they adjusted on that 18 car seems to be working.
Gary Clute up to 7th spot and chasing JP Bergeron. So there you go. That was the leader of the first batch that came down pit lane during that last caution, as Connor Bell does get an adjustment On the back end of the number 3 is he will come out lockstep 39 of Alex Canet.
Top 3 still nose to tail. Marc-Antoine Cameron, the 96, Andrew Ranger in the 27, Kyle Steckley in the 22.
I gotta say, they're playing nice at the front of the field. If this was 2 to go, they wouldn't be playing this nice.
No, possibly not. It was brought up in the drivers' meeting. Steve Salvis is the new race director for these races. He says they are done with the bumping to pass. They are done with the unsportsmanlike conduct. That is not the sport they want to portray. Andrew Ranger to the inside.
No, it's a pit stop
Yes.
now for the 96 and the 22. So Cameron peels off and brings Kyle Steckley with him as Andrew Ranger will come through and lead a lap here in the CarGurus 200. Slowly making their way down pit lane. Again, these will be scheduled stops for these 2 teams. The Sierra Excavating number 22, Kyle Steckley, will get an adjustment, will get Gulf Fuel. And then Marc-Antoine Cameron all the way down towards the end of pit lane. As you can see the crew go to work in adding some fuel. And again, they're having some issues too, trying to get that fuel nozzle to connect.
And that seemed to take quite a bit longer than it seemed to take DJ Kennington.
You see the gap to Kyle Steckley. Steckley finished his service, and he's about 15 car lengths ahead of the 96 on the exit of pit lane. Here is your race leader, though, the 27 of Andrew Ranger from Roxton Pond, Quebec, in the GM Paillet Chevrolet Canada number 27. He leads Will LaRue in the 45. It is a bit of a surprise, but it's also no surprise that Will LaRue is running second in this race at this point. It's his first road course race in a NASCAR Canada car, but he's under the tutelage of former series champion Alex LeBay. So he's got a lot of help, and man, he's been quick wherever he goes. So that's why I say it's no surprise.
We talked about it a little bit, but how did Kevin Lacroix do in his first race? He won.
Yeah.
Connor Bell in his first race.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to do. It's not obvious. But if you are an elite caliber race car driver and you put yourself in the right position.
And he's in the right position now. He just assumed the lead as the 27 of Andrew Ranger comes down pit lane to get his splash of fuel. So team has decided this is exactly where they want to be and pick up their Gulf Fuel. And tires will come later.
Did you see the difference in his fuel can?
Didn't.
Let's have a look at this pass by Gary Clute on LP Dumoulin off of turn number 2 into 3 on the inside. Clute gets around in that 71 in a battle for the 3rd spot.
And he picks that one up. That's pretty textbook in this series to swing wide off of turn number 2 and gives you an opportunity to complete that pass in turn 3.
The Andrew Ranger fuel can had a clear hose coming off the spout. It's a vent hose, and it was clearly different than the fuel cans being used by the 2 drivers that we saw who had trouble. Coincidence?
I don't know.
Perhaps.
Potentially. Will LaRue still has yet to make his stop. The rookie stripe on the back of the LaRue Industrial Snowblowers, number 45. He'll come through to complete another lap. Now 19 laps in the books, so he's pushing it a long way. And we should reiterate, if you're brand new to the NASCAR Canada series and you think, well, that's fine, they can just push it a little bit further, make one stop, take fuel, tires, everything all together. In the rules, you're not allowed doing that. Make one stop, take fuel. Make another stop, take some tires, and you can't do it all together. So if that's part of your strategy, you didn't read the rule book properly.
No, and they do that to save money from teams investing in super crews like you would see on a Sunday in the NASCAR Cup Series. They want to keep it affordable. That's a great way to do it, and it's a fun little wrinkle. We have a lot of fun wrinkles in NASCAR Canada.
I agree. And this place really brings out interesting strategies we've seen play out over the years. Again, some drivers taking no tires, some drivers taking 2 tires, but a brand new McCreary tire this year. We've talked about it a little bit, especially in qualifying. We talked about it in some practice, but it is a new compound, and it's a new type of tire And there's a lot of question marks about how far these drivers are able to push this tire and keep it consistent. It does have about 3 laps of really sticky, goodness.
Goodness.
Yeah, that's, I mean, the lack of a better term is the 45 of Will LaRue wheels down pit lane. So again, this is his scheduled stop for your race leader, Will LaRue. But then it does plateau a little bit, and the question mark is how long does that plateau hold?
I don't know, but I do know LP Dumoulin just drove around Gary Kloot to take the lead off of turn 10.
So the WeatherTech.ca number 47, your new race leader. And Gary Kloot, your pole sitter, coming into today's race and led a bunch in the early going. And these two aren't quite done, but if that says anything about the 47 and how quick he could be, you mentioned quickest or second quickest in practice, and then unfortunately had a little bit of an issue in qualifying and couldn't lay down the lap he needed. But look at how quick that car is now in the mid-race here in the CarGurus 200.
Not a lot of drivers pass Gary Kloot cleanly here at CTMP. It is not.
Right.
It is not an easy job.
And if you're looking Gary Kloot, you've been a fan of the series for a long time, you may think, wait a second, Gary Kloot's number 59. Who was that guy in the 71? That is Gary Kloot, and it's actually Gary's number. That's the number he ran while he was coming up through the ranks karting, and it's always been a number close to his heart. He inherited the number 59 after running a season split with John Ferrano, who owned the car before he did. And so he just assumed that number and ran it for a while. It was always his intention to go back to number 71. Finally, he said, I got around to it. And this year, that's why we're seeing the number 71. But Gary Kloot currently running in second spot behind the number 47. LP Dumoulin. We continue under green here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Welcome back to the CarGurus 200 at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. I'm Dave Bradley. Joined with me is Adam Ross in the booth. And while we were away, there was a lot of things that had happened in this race. So Gary Kloot is back in the top spot. He managed to get around the 47 of LP Dumoulin. Not only that, the 80 of Alex Tagliani came down pit lane. The 3 car of Connor Bell came down to take left side tires. And the 17 Castrol Dodge of DJ Kennington, who's running in the top 5, had to come down and crack open the hood. It looks like they added some water.
It's actually power steering fluid.
Ah, yes, okay.
Which, that's a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
If you have to add power steering fluid, it's escaping somehow, so it's a temporary fix.
And to race here without power steering, especially as many laps as they have to go, there's still 28 to go here in the CarGurus 200. To run that many laps without power steering is, you would be feeling like the Incredible Hulk by the end of the day.
You would think so. JP Bergeron having a good run, that E-Racer number 1. He runs in the 3rd spot out there. I saw him just before they pulled up onto the grid. He had his game face on. He feels good.
And he's gone from running a full-time program with the NASCAR Canada Series. He's backed it down to a part-time sort of participation, but in those races, he's always in the mix. He's not sort of, he's raised his level of his equipment. And it looks like DJ Kennington, a quick stop and go once again in the Castrol Dodge. So it looks like this has gone from a good day to potentially a long day for the Castrol crew, as Kennington will try to salvage as many points as you can. And we can tell you that the 47 of LP Dumoulin is preparing to come down and take on some tires as Josh Hurley in the 24 makes his dive for pit lane. So again, the strategies are starting to play out. Josh Hurley was up in 4th spot.
Yeah, you're giving up some pretty good track position, but it's something you need to do in road course racing. Unlike oval track racing, you sort of construct the race backwards from the checkered flag. How much time do we need? How long can we go on these tires? If you determine it's 26 laps, then this is the lap you want to come in.
Gary Kloot has not taken tires. He has come down to take his fuel, so he has enough fuel to make it to the distance, but he has yet to take tires, so he will have to do that. And when the WeatherTech.ca Dodge of LP Dumoulin is going to come down, we're expecting in the next few laps. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the 71 come in around that time as well.
John Fletcher on the pit box for the 71 of Gary Clute, always trying to push the limits, always trying to create the ultimate race.
I can tell you too, if you're a fan of Sam Fellows and you're rooting for the AER number 87 team, remember he had that issue that dropped him to the back. He was 26th after the restart. He got spun coming out of turn number 10. He's back up to 7th, taking advantage of all these pit stops. So Sam Fellows still trucking along. He's got his head down and he's gone to work. So he's back up inside the top 10. A heck of a drive by the driver of the number 87.
Next time they come by, the start-finish line will be halfway through the CarGurus 200. Here's JP Bergeron pulling down into his pit stall.
The E-Racer Ford was in 3rd spot. JP Bergeron getting some fuel. No tires yet for that team, so he's happy with what he's got as far as the McCreary tires go. And now is not the time for him to take tires, but the 22 Sierra Excavating Chevrolet of Kyle Steckley is down pit lane, so he will get his right side tires during this spot.
Right side of that car, high up in the air. Kyle Steckley drops the hammer out of his pit stall. He'll come back onto the racing surface. So the running order getting shuffled quite a bit here.
Fellows came down as well, so he comes back out in 14th spot in the 87, but the leader still Gary Clute. LP Dumoulin still holding down second. Now Ryan Clute in the 42 is up into 3rd, and Matthew Kingsbury in 4th with Andrew Ranger rounding out the top 5.
Ryan Clute is someone we really haven't talked about this weekend, but he is very, very good. He is a solid driver behind the wheel, can lay down really good laps. Here comes LP Dumoulin, that WeatherTech 47 down pit road.
25 laps to go. LP Dumoulin will watch the tack as he heads down pit lane. The NASCAR officials are watching for speeders, and so you have to maintain that pit road speed limit as the WeatherTech Dodge comes down pit lane, and it's right side tires for the 47 team. So that's not really a surprise because, as you mentioned, there's not as many corners that lean on the right side tires as there is on the left side tires.
No, for sure. This is mostly right-hand turns. The high-speed turns are right-hand turn, although turn 4 is probably one of the faster parts of the racetrack. Just downhill, turning to the left.
The AutoLogic number 71 and Gary Clute team picking up brand new sponsor, Clean Flow. See that logo in the rear quarter of the number 71. Great look to that car here in 2026, and Gary Clute's earned the nickname the Smiling Assassin because he's so quiet in the pits, but he's always got a big grin on his face, and he will go out and he will absolutely drive on the ragged edge.
No, he's got phenomenal car control, always has speed out there, impressive to watch.
And he's the type of driver, we talked about this a little bit too, it's going to take a special kind of driver to be able to nurse the tires. We know that they do degrade a little bit. They'll have to come through and make a stop. They can't, in most cases, they can't run competitively towards the end on one set of tires, and that's fine. But Gary Clute is sort of a master at this, and he's just, like, he's aggressive, yes, but he's so gentle on the gas. You don't see the back end kicking out an awful lot. He doesn't abuse the car, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
For sure. Some of them really cowboy up, and you can see, man, they're pushing hard. Andrew Ranger getting left side rubber on that number 27. Marc-Antoine Cameron into the 96 is going to do the same thing.
Two drivers in the top 5 down pit lane, so a couple GM Paillet-backed teams.
Problems on the left front for Marc-Antoine Cameron. He is not having a good day on pit road.
He almost ran over the hose for the tire gun, but managed to get out just in time and avoid a penalty potentially for running over that hose.
Problems for Ranger as well. The left front tire changer was pointing to his gun as he ran back across the front of the car. So let's keep an eye on that 27 and the left front tire.
See if we got them all tight. That's going to be a story for sure, but we'll take you through the top 5 as it runs right now. So you've got Clute, Ryan Clute, so Gary Clute and Ryan Clute 1 and 2. Matthew Kingsbury, Andrew Ranger was 4th when he crossed the stripe, so put LP Dumoulin up 1 and Larry Jackson now up inside the top 5. There's a good look at Ryan Clute in the legendary motor car, number 42.
Couple more cars heading into the pits. Looks like Larry Jackson. I think that's Alex Gannett right behind him.
Yeah, so a couple drivers who are running a full season in 2026 contending for a championship. And they will show their strategy cards with pit stops right now. So they'll be able to take some tires as there is Jacques Gannett Sr., so the grandfather of Alex Gannett in the 93. We'll do select races over the course of 2026.
Matthew Kingsbury right behind Ryan Clute in the 42. A good solid run for Kingsbury, as you mentioned, in the top 3. 27 back on pit road. Let's see if it's for right side tire, if it's tightened down the left front.
I was just going to point out the difference in lap times on old tires compared to new. So if you look at Gary Clute's quickest time, that came on lap number 1. It was a 1:24.7, as there is Andrew Ranger getting his right side tires. His last lap time was a 1:27.0, so that's about 3 seconds a lap different just because of old tires.
Well, if it was you and I, and because of old tires, fatigue, extreme heat, I missed my nap. Is it snack time yet?
Old drivers, that's the problem. For us is Matthew Kingsbury definitely turning up the intensity. Ooh, and gets a little crossways at the Hurricane number 9, trying to accelerate out of turn 1 and chase the 42 of Ryan Clute, who's quietly put together himself a great afternoon here in the CarGurus 200.
This is the part of the race that's really hard to follow as a fan. What's going on? Why is Josh Hurley and Dominic Scrivo and Ron Tomlinson in the 48, why are they in the top 10 right now? There's a lot of moving parts going on. A lot of, it's kind of like the shell, trying to keep up with where the ball is under the shell as different drivers are on different strategies.
We can tell you some of the favorites coming into this event. You have Connor Bell, who's running in 15th spot. Alex Tagliani is in 19th position, and Andrew Ranger, of course, who has made both of his pit stops now. So Andrew Ranger is done for service, and he is in 27th or 21st position at this point.
Glenn Steyer's in the 0 in front of Gary Clute in the 71. Clute looked like he was going to make a pass on the exit of turn 9 into 10, and he drove to the inside, but Glenn Steyers was able to stay ahead of him. Now Clute to the inside in turn number 3, but Glenn Steyers able to hold off his advance.
Steyers having a great day, actually. He's sitting in 19th position, and for Glenn Steyers in that GSR number 0, he's not somebody who is considered himself a road race ace. He loves doing it. That's why he keeps coming back, but he's gained experience, gained a little momentum, and here he is sitting inside the top 20, and that's a good day for Glenn Steyers.
You know who's not happy for him? Gary Clute. Gary Clute is not very happy with Glenn Steyers and his newfound speed.
As he tucks up in behind the 0 heading down the Andretti straightaway. Now he'll pull to the inside. May make a hand gesture on the way through. We're not sure, but Gary Clute slides it through turn number 8. He continues to lead the field here in the CarGurus 200. And welcome back to a very sunny Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in Bowmanville, Ontario. And we are under a full course caution for the incident there involving the 9 of Matthew Kingsbury. That is in turn number 8. And you can see a lot of smoke leading up to that as he refires the car. He did manage to get back up onto the runoff area on the asphalt but then stalled it, and that was enough for NASCAR officials to determine that car was in a dangerous spot. The full course caution came out, and can you guess what that did?
It fixed the car.
Well, of course, but it created a flurry on pit lane as well. A lot of the drivers taking the opportunity when they saw that stalled car in turn number 8 came right down pit lane, and you take advantage of it before everybody else stops under caution.
Have we mentioned Kevin Lacroix is back on track in that 74?
We haven't yet. He's down a number of laps, and I will get that.
What a frustrating day. And that's, you know, I don't know if you heard pre-race, I was a little bit cryptic talking about how you plan for 7-8 months from the end of last year, how you're going to execute the next season perfectly. Kevin Lacroix specifically deserves a championship because he has shown that he can win on ovals, he can win on road courses, he is great everywhere. But as I said before the race, racing does not work like that. Not everyone's going to have a great day. Sam Fellows is going to spin out. Kevin Lacroix is going to have that issue on a pace lap. And it's how you respond to those things that make you a championship team.
And we can say that Kevin Lacroix is back out. He's 23 laps down to the race leader, Gary Clute. But you're right. And to have your bad luck on this of all days, you have a field of 31 cars. If you have a field of 15 cars, your bad luck maybe isn't so bad when it comes to the final points you will be able to take away from that day. 31 cars, that's a big hill to climb on racing.
Yeah, it's a bad day.
Yeah.
It almost insurmountable. Unfortunately, it's not the first time we've seen it.
Continue under the full course caution. We'll take another quick break here in the CarGurus 200. And welcome back to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park as we continue under a full course caution in the CarGurus 200 at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And let's take you through the running order as it sits right now. Gary Clute, LP Dumoulin. Gary Clute, your leader. LP Dumoulin in second. Will LaRue sits third. And then Josh Hurley. And Dominic Scrivo.
And the reason we hesitate here, Dave, is because that is probably going to change. Pit road is still closed. But do we think that Gary Clute and LP Dumoulin are done on pit road?
I don't think so, actually. I think, well, LP Dumoulin has come in to take tires. We know that, but he took right side tires, correct?
I thought they came in for both, and that's why it's almost impossible to keep up from the vantage point that we have.
Yeah.
With what everyone has done. I believe Andrew Ranger and Kyle Steckley have all the fuel and all the tires they are going to take.
Pits are still closed, so the drivers will not be able to come down pit lane. It looks like Alex Gannett has an issue with where he was lining up on the track. So NASCAR officials will be telling him where he needs to put that DLGL number 39.
They're saying he's the free pass car.
So he should be in front of the 71 behind the pace car as they go to line up, because when they double up, they'll let Alex Gannett go and he'll reclaim that lap and try and catch up to the tail of the field. He won't be able to because they'll let him go down the back straightaway.
They're going to let him go at the start-finish line this year, even though the double up doesn't happen until the backstretch. So he will be able to close that in. But my question is, how did he go down the lap in the first place?
It must have been with pit stops. He came down a few times during that green flag run as Glenn Stiers makes a stop down pit lane, so he will get some service on the 0 car. But a few of the favorites coming in, we talked about, Alex Gannett as being one. There's another one, Alex Tagliani. And he's had a rough day. He's also a lap down in the 80 car. He's sitting in 22nd position, just ahead of DJ Kennington, who's had some documented power steering issues in the Castrol Dodge. Kennington sitting in 23rd spot. So a bit of a surprise to see those drivers that far back.
It's a real surprise. And I've got an official's radio in one of my ears, and I've got you in my other ear, Dave. They're talking about trapped cars. And what happens, this series goes back to the last completed lap to set the lineup. So if the leader passes a car and puts it a lap down, does not complete that lap, and the yellow comes out, they will send them back around. So what needs to happen right now, they're telling Sam Fellows, and I believe Dexter Stacy. So the 87 and the 8, they want those two cars to pass the field, drive all the way around, and catch up to the tail end of the field. Oh, might be 80 and 87. So here, Tagliani, message delivered. He's taking off.
He's not going to wait around for that invitation to come twice.
39 of Alex Gannett is allegedly the free pass car, which should put Alex Gannett directly behind the pace car, but Gary Clute is not yielding. And now they've released.
Okay, so Gannett's going to go, and he'll be back on the lead lap as a trap car, potentially?
Yeah, trap cars were Sam Fellows and
Okay.
Alex Tagliani. So that means when they go back to the last completed lap, the yellow flag comes out, but they don't count that lap. But you can't just pass the pace car and pass the leader. You have to wait till the officials send you.
But then the 39 went as well.
They released the free pass already.
Oh, and so we'll get it all sorted for you and take another quick break here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And welcome back to the CarGurus 200 at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. I'm Dave Bradley. Joined with me in the booth is Adam Ross, and the lineup appears to be set. Pit lane should be open this time for any takers as far as fuel or tires goes. And most of the field has, I should say all of the fuel, or all of the field has done their fuel stop. Some of them still need to take McCreary tires.
Yeah, we believe Gary Clute may come in twice under this yellow if time permits. So I want to see where Kyle Steckley shakes out, because I believe Kyle Steckley might be done coming into the pits.
Well, we know Andrew Ranger is done on the 27. We've seen him come in for his fuel for left sides and right sides, so that was 3 separate stops for the 27 team. So there's another player who's done and will stay out and will take advantage of extra track position as everybody else peels down pit lane. Keep in mind, there's only, as they cross the stripe this time, there will only be 15 laps to go here in the CarGurus 200.
Lots of time, lots of time.
As Clute comes down, you see Matthew Kingsbury, the WeatherTech Dodge of LP Dumoulin. Will LaRue is also down pit lane. JP Bergeron's had a great day. He's come down pit lane in the E-Racer Ford.
Pit road speed limit is 60 kilometers an hour. And there goes Clute. They are carefully putting on those left side tires. Make sure all the lug nuts are
You don't have to
secured.
hurry. You just have to make sure you get all those lug nuts. That's, you can see there's not a flurry of action. I mean, they're going at a quickened pace, but it's not, there's no need to hurry and make mistakes. That's a mistake will take you out of the running.
LP Dumoulin just got out ahead of Gary Clute.
DJ Kennington is in for his left side tires, and there's Dexter Stacy in the Bullies truck stop number 8 as he comes down to get some right side tires. Ryan Clute is in as well.
Problem with the tire change, their front tire changer has just had to go around to the rear tires.
An issue with the tire gun for the 42 team, and the good news is it happened under a caution, so he will lose some track position, but nothing like he would have lost had that been a green flag pit stop.
No, for sure. Yellow flag is going to remain out. Listening to the officials, they have some debris on the racetrack. Sounds like some dirt or rocks have been kicked up onto the track that they are needing to clean off.
There's a RAC.ca number 85 of Daryl Timmers, and the Superior Propane, also RAC.ca number 84 of Larry Jackson. Couple cars prepared at the Larry Jackson shop, and there's the NASCAR officials, and it's potentially the track coming apart, or they're looking at maybe some fluid down in the racing line. So that's turn number 9, and then or headed towards turn number 9. So that's a high-speed area through turn number 8. They don't brake very hard going into turn number 8. They sort of just kink the car around, let it float, and then get hard on the brakes towards turn number 9. So if there's any fluid down, you want to make sure it's picked up.
No, that's for sure. This has been an impressive weekend to watch NASCAR, to watch the officials group. We have a new series director. We have a new race director. We have new people in positions of authority. We have a huge entourage from NASCAR up here doing promotional work, working with the teams. It is truly impressive to see what NASCAR has brought to the table to show 2026 is a fresh beginning. New tire for the series, new choose rule. So from big changes to little changes, there is a lot of change, and boy, has it been impressive to see this weekend.
Some changes in the schedule as we see a number of double headers being contested over the course of the 14-race season. It'll crisscross all provinces, making stops in 4 of them, 6 road courses, and 8 ovals. The events on the 2026 calendar for the NASCAR Canada Series this year, and great to see a number of new faces here in 2026, at least giving it a shot here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, even if it didn't go their way today.
No, exactly. Another thing that's going on this year, many years the series raced at the Toronto Indy, and they put on phenomenal racing, but quite often the race was on the Friday. So it was kind of buried in the program, and it was good to have them there, and it's good exposure for the teams. This year at the Markham Indy, they are the headline show on the Saturday of that weekend. That is a big deal.
That is a very big deal, and for the inaugural event there, all eyes are going to be on Markham as Dominic Scrivo comes down pit lane, and a red flag being shown. So the cars will stop on the front straightaway, and that is likely for that fluid in between turns 8 and 9, in through the S's.
Can I let you in on a secret, Dave?
Yes.
I don't know where Markham starts and ends. Like, I know approximately, like Markham is just off of the 401, Toronto-ish. But I couldn't tell you, oh, I'm in Markham now. Like, it's Toronto to me.
It says welcome to Markham. That's how you know. Yeah, if you take the 407, you'll get there. But don't worry, we'll program your GPS so you don't lose your way.
I can't afford the 407. Do you think they'd sponsor me?
Maybe. As you can see, you can see the tire mark, but you can also see what appears to be fluid down, and that's it may be 1, it may be 2 lines of fluid down. I think the outside one, where the NASCAR officials are there right now, that looks to be fluid to me.
I think it's a dance-off. Cheer them on, turn number 9. They'll boogie for you.
They're getting to work right now trying to determine what that is. So potentially oil, potentially rear end as well, as the 69 of Dominic Scrivo is down pit lane. The MBS Motorsports Bolton GM, number 69. You can see the hand out the window is trying to get some air in there, sitting under the red flag. The crew cannot work, and I don't know if he was the reason, if fluid was leaking out of the 69 car of Scrivo, or if this was just a scheduled stop to come in to grab some tires because he knew the yellow flag was going to be extended.
I would sooner think it was Matthew Kingsbury, but only because he tried to take off, didn't take off, sat there for a bit, finally did take off.
He did make contact with that wall, so, potentially punching a hole in something on the front end to the Duro King number 9, but he did turn some laps after that, so are they happy with? They're not happy, so their cleanup begins now.
So I want to take this opportunity. If you're here in the facility, I hope you're having a great time. Don't forget, hydrate. This sun is powerful, especially since we haven't been able to go out and enjoy much of it. So please be careful. But if you're having a good time, we really hope you come back Labor Day weekend. That's when the NASCAR Canada Series is back again. If you happen to be watching this live stream from wherever you are, make your plan. Labor Day weekend, it is such a fantastic experience. We have people of all ages. I mean, this is a diverse crowd. It is fun to see all the people. You know, some of them are new to racing. They've never had this experience. You need to see it to believe it. There's a lot of racing people that enjoy watching these races that probably go to a track on a Friday night or a Saturday night. A lot of stock car tracks around that have never been to this facility, but they're watching today because they can.
Yeah.
Make it a point. Come out here on Labor Day weekend. You will not regret it.
Look at the number of cars. So you're watching the cleanup there in turn number 9, but look at the number of cars, the campers that have been set up here since midweek to get the best vantage point that you think would give you the best opportunity to watch today's races. But yeah, the people have been filing in all day. The weather has been spectacular. And you're right, rain or shine, this is an event at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And it's just a cool facility. It's so historic. It's been this way since 1961. The track really hasn't changed. It's been this challenging, this technical, this difficult to go fast. And I think that's what makes it so special, is to win here is a big deal for these drivers, and it's cool to do it in front of so many great fans. We'll take another quick break as the cleanup continues. I would agree with that because, I mean, just look at Andrew Ranger, Kyle Steckley went to run the ARCA Menard Series at Watkins Glen. They both started at the back because qualifying was rained out. They had no points, no experience, so they had to just essentially take provisionals to get in. Both were up inside the top 10.
Yeah.
And they started in 30th.
They stand up. And we've got there's a lot of parity in this series. We watched the start of this race. There are the best. Marc-Antoine Cameron, Gary Clute, Andrew Ranger were out in front. But all the way back to 12th or 15th, they were in the ballpark. Yellow flag is back out. Work can resume on pit road. The field is going to roll. So not only are the drivers quality, but the cars are fairly equally, I don't say equally prepared, but they're fairly equal.
Yeah.
Horsepower, speed, handling, and it really comes down to who can wheel them the best. But I would put our drivers against drivers in any series going, and that's only elevated things. We used to have the Lapsevich brothers, Jim and Jeff, who were very good road racers, turned stock car racers. And they elevated things, and then Donnie Thompson got it figured out.
Yep.
Then Kerry Mix got it figured out. And then this kid named Andrew Ranger showed up. And that opened the floodgates to people like Alex Tagliani, LP and JF Dumoulin. All these people wanted to come to this series because that's where the hottest Quebec drivers were competing. That's where you could compete against your hero, Alex Tagliani, a former pole sitter in the Indy 500. So it just created an amazing funnel of talent. And you're out there racing against the best, it makes you that much better. Alex LeBay came in. Just so many that have come along and been great performers.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And Scrivo and the 17 of DJ Kennington have been released from their pit stalls, so they will rejoin as soon as the field starts moving. But you talk about the caliber of drivers in the NASCAR Canada Series. All you have to do is look back through history, and you have drivers like Christopher Bell, who's made a start here in NASCAR Canada, right here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. No, that guy oozes talent and drives the wheels off anything he's in. He didn't win in this series. Austin Dillon ran in the NASCAR Canada Series. He didn't win.
Ty Dillon, Austin Dillon, Riley Herbst, Christopher Bell. Jacques Villeneuve?
Yes.
He was very good. He was close. He had some good runs.
Yeah.
Did not win in this series. So it really is. We should be very proud of the product we have here in Canada. The teams, the drivers, and the show we can put on.
Absolutely. And we're about to get treated to, as you mentioned, about a 10-lap dash by the time they go back to green and get things back underway as the vehicle's rolling once again here on the front chute. And you can see the Carlisle number 74 of Kevin Lacroix waving the field by. So he's like, I'm not in the mix today. It's just not my day. So let others sort it out. As far as timing and scoring goes, that is your race leader, Josh Hurley, in the number 24 BC Race Cars Ford Mustang, and they need to be proud with this run here today. Hurley came out, ran this race a year ago, last year, and unfortunately his race ended early with mechanical issues, but here today they put together a pretty good run.
Yeah, I love talking to these drivers about their experience, because these cars are not like sports cars, where a lot of these drivers come from. Sports cars have high performance brakes.
Trans Am Series as well, and Josh Hurley has some experience in that.
These cars are like bull riding compared to bareback riding in a horse. You and I couldn't do either, but
you're not wrong.
The look you just gave me, you concern me. The horse is bareback, not the rider, Dave.
But you're right. They are fun cars to drive. And yeah, like talking, and again, we talk about the calibers of drivers that we've seen, or caliber of drivers that we've seen in this series. Kyle Marcelli is another one of them. He came in and drove for Dave Jacobs, who was a seasoned car owner at the time. He's now in the NASCAR realm as an official. But Kyle Marcelli came in out of sports cars, winning driver in sports cars, and said, I love these cars because I get to drive them. My input means something. It's not just engineers working on the car, tweaking this and doing that, which is great in its own right if that's the series that you're in. But for the drivers, sometimes they just want to let loose. They want to break the chains and just muscle a car, and that's exactly what you're doing in the NASCAR Canada series.
Yeah, that's very well said. So I'm not sure about the order the cars are on the racetrack behind the pace car. But we will keep you posted as things get sorted out. It's going to be one to go at the start-finish line.
So at this point, we have Josh Hurley with Marc-Antoine Cameron running in second. But Alex Tagliani and the 88 of Simon Charbonneau are ahead of John Hurley on the racetrack behind the pace car. So it appears as though they would be released as trapped cars.
But if they were trapped, they'd already be released. So perhaps, is it possible Simon Charbonneau is the race leader?
It could be. And timing and scoring just hasn't updated, because that tends to happen after a red flag. Sometimes it's a little sluggish. We'll see when I come across the start-finish line. Ranger did stop early. He took fuel, and then he came back and he took his sets of tires as well. So he did get all of his stops completed. So anybody else who has come down since, he would pick up those positions and gain that track position.
So coming around, nobody at the front of the field is coming down pit road. Here comes somebody, and I actually can't even tell who it is.
That's
Ron Tomlinson, Will LaRue. So they're calling the 27 of Ranger and the 88 of Charbonneau to lay over and let the field go by. But how far do they let the field go by?
So Ranger currently on the timing and scoring is in 20th position. Simon Charbonneau is in 19th position. So both those drivers are a lap down to the race leader. They have 37 laps completed. The race leader has 38. But they're not the first cars one lap down, I don't believe.
So DJ Kennington just came in and topped up with fuel in that Castrol 17.
Kennington did not have a great day, sitting in 21st spot. It's not horrible, but it's a lap off the pace in 21st, just behind the 27 of Andrew Ranger, as a matter of fact, as far as timing and scoring goes. So that's where we sit right now. So it would be Hurley with Marc-Antoine Cameron, Kyle Steckley, Dave Courceau in the 54, and Alex Tagliani has found his way back up towards the front. LP Dumoulin has been at the front of the field. He's led some laps. Gary Klutsch, Connor Bell, and then JP Bergeron and Dexter Stacey rounds out the top 10.
the message I heard on the officials' radio was for the 88 and the 27 to lay over and let the field go by. They have now raced past our position, leaving Josh Hurley out in front of the field. Marc-Antoine Cameron second in the 96, the 54 of Dave Corsall, the 22 of Kyle Steckley. Timing and scoring, so it's complicated for us to follow, Dave, trying to understand what's going on and what lap. But timing and scoring is computerized. So it shouldn't be, it's very crystal clear for the scorers to say this is the order they need to be on the track. This is when the yellow came out.
So we can tell you that the 24 of Josh Hurley and the 54 of Dave Corsall have yet to take tires. So that is why they're up so far in the running order. So Josh Hurley is really rolling the dice at this stage in the game. And Dave Corsall is as well. So they have enough fuel to make it the distance. They haven't taken any McCreary tires yet.
It's a high-risk move, and this is why. When you get to this point of the race, and there's about 10 laps to go, a little more,
but you have to watch the sort of latter half of the top 10 from really, Alex Tagliani, LP Dumoulin, Gary Clute, Connor Bell. We know those four drivers have been quick. They've been quick all weekend. Now, can they get through traffic without abusing the tires too much? Do they have enough time left to get through the traffic? They're not going to come up against some slowpokes and get an easy pass by. These are all hard-fought passes, and if you want to get to the front, you have to do it cleanly, and you have to do it efficiently. I mean, you're going to be racing a driver of the caliber of Marc-Antoine Cameron, for example, and that's not going to be an easy pass to make. So if you look at some of those drivers who have been at the front of the field, they have some work to do to get back up there. But now is the time to go as the number 9 Duro King Chevrolet of Matthew Kingsbury comes down pit lane again.
A 1-lap penalty has been issued to the 27 of Andrew Ranger and the 88 of Simone Charbonneau. They were supposed to pull over and lay back and let the field go by. They went around the caution car, so they will hold that 27. The 88 of Charbonneau stayed on the racetrack. So he's following instructions. Simone Charbonneau is following instructions that were given 3-4 laps ago. Stop and let the field go by. You can't stop now and let the field go by because they're going to be racing.
Yeah, so there you can see the NASCAR official on pit lane with the hand up, stopping the GM Paille Chevrolet Canada number 27 of Andrew Ranger. And again, an early race favorite, and was in the mix in the early going in this one, but his race has sort of fallen apart in the latter stages.
All is not lost. If he gets a yellow flag, things can happen.
That's true.
Good things can happen. I'm struggling to understand what transpired there to lead to these penalties.
Well, we know the 24 of Josh Hurley will be trying to hold back a hard-charging Marc-Antoine Cameron, who we've seen in victory lane here several times at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. The GM Paille number 96, no stranger to crossing the start-finish line first. And he currently sits in second, so you know he's going to be hungry at the drop of the green. And Dave Corsall, Kyle Steckley, third and fourth. Alex Tagliani, LP Dumoulin, Gary Clute, Connor Bell, JP Bergeron, Dexter Stacey, Sam Fellows in 11th spot, Ryan Clute, Larry Jackson, Alex Gannett, and Ron Tomlinson. That is your top 15.
So here's what's about to happen. They're about to do the choose rule. So we'll see the arm come out from the caution car driver soon. Arm is out the window. He'll make the signal that it's time to choose. Marc-Antoine Cameron is going to do the opposite of whatever Josh Hurley does. That makes the decision of Dave Corsall very important. Dave Corsall in the third spot. If Cameron, who's going to be on the front row, has Kyle Steckley right behind him, they are going to take off, in my opinion. Josh Hurley is not going to get off to as good a start because he's an old player, so is Dave Corsall. This is going to be a nightmare for Alex Tagliani in the 80, LP Dumoulin in the 47, Gary Clute in the 71, the 3 of Connor Bell. It is really going to bog things down, and this surprises me. Kyle Steckley elected to go to the inside following Josh Hurley instead of following Marc-Antoine Cameron, and I am shocked by that.
But now you have old tires on the inside. You go back the next row, you have old tires on the outside. So both rows could be held up a little bit on this restart as the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park pace car heads down pit lane. And very slowly, Josh Hurley will bring them through turn number 9. As you can see, the field tightly bunched into turn number 10. They head onto the front straightaway and into the Pinty's restart zone as we get back underway here in the CarGurus 200.
Josh Hurley is the control car. Oh my goodness, he did not go
at all. Marc-Antoine Cameron went. As a matter of fact, the 2 rows went, and Josh Hurley went backwards by several cars. As a matter of fact, timing and scoring. So as they crossed the stripe, Josh Hurley was 3rd. So is that a jump start for Marc-Antoine Cameron and Dave Corsall?
Not if the leader accelerated first. But I don't know that it didn't look like the leader did. It just like Cameron took off.
Oh, Cameron's gone, and Gary Clute has managed to sneak through in the 71. So Clute up to second. Now Kyle Steckley around the outside in turn number 4. Here comes Sam Fellows to the inside into turn number 5. He's going to bring the 80 of Alex Tagliani with him. And full course caution is out. Look at the back bumper cover of the Saint-Hubert number 80 of Alex Tagliani.
So hopefully we'll get a chance, as Larry Jackson has got himself spun around on the racetrack. Hopefully we will get a chance to see that restart
Connor Bell too.
Again. Connor Bell with big damage in the number 3 to the front of that car.
So Connor Bell got into the back of Alex Tagliani. That's almost a guarantee. Crumpled up the hood on that Chevy Camaro.
No, I don't think that's who was behind. Connor Bell was much further down the line. Tagliani had LP Dumoulin right behind him.
Yeah, you could be right. But the damage is, so somebody else has a lot of damage to their nose of the car. Well, we're going to get another look at this restart.
This gets better, Dave, because the yellow came out right away. So the 24 of Josh Hurley is the control car. As long as he accelerates first, we're going to look for wheel spin.
Watch Tagliani in the yellow.
No, he didn't take off at all.
He didn't go. And then Tagliani gets stopped up. I think Connor Bell might have hit the back end of LP Dumoulin, who got into the 80 of Alex Tagliani. How LP Dumoulin has no damage to that WeatherTech number 47 is beyond me.
So I don't understand how Cameron does not have a penalty for jumping that start, but that is what it is. Because yellow came out on the first lap, Josh Hurley gets his spot back. Josh Hurley will be the leader for this restart.
Because they did not complete a full lap, which is, according to the NASCAR rulebook, what needs to be done. And it's not just the leader has to cross the line. It's the whole snake, as they say, has to cross the start-finish line in order for that lap to count as official. It did not. The yellow had come out. So, yeah, we're going to have to reset this one. Josh Hurley was way back in the running order. As it sits right now, caution flags flying around the racetrack, and Connor Bell is just trying to see. So he's going to rely on his spotters, and they do have several spotters around this facility. A lot of teams using different vantage points for the to help out the drivers. And in this case, the spotters are going to help them get all the way back around.
You know, Diamond is making a difference, Dave. And he sure is getting them some good publicity.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's it's not publicity in victory lane for Connor Bell at this point. That hood is buckled up pretty good, but I think he'll come down pit lane. They could probably stomp it and keep it going for, again, what would be about 10 laps.
So the fact that he's still on the racetrack tells me it's not overheating, because they would have pulled straight down pit road and been penalized to the back for coming into a closed pit. He'll run under yellow and wait for pit road to open. Come down and they can make those adjustments.
Get this one now. Andrew Ranger penalized 1 lap, goes a lap down, caution comes out, is now technically the first car 1 lap down and potentially eligible for the free pass.
I don't know if they award a free pass on a restart that didn't happen because of caution during that lap.
Could be. Simon Charbonneau did catch up to the tail end of the field, though. We saw the red number 88, the Transgestion, number 88, catching up to just the back of the 3 car of Connor Bell.
Free pass goes to the 0 of Glenn Stiers.
Yeah, so Stiers would have been behind Andrew Ranger and Simon Charbonneau on the timing and scoring as we have it. So you're exactly right. So the free pass not necessarily given to the ones who were penalized during that last caution. And so there's Stiers in the GSR, Schwiegen Speedway number 0. And he'll get to pass the whole field on his way up to getting back onto the lead lap.
Pit road is open. We'll see if anyone elects to come in. And they still have not sorted out the lineup. The 24 of Josh Hurley is supposed to be at the front of the field.
Just waiting to see if anybody is a taker for pit lane. It doesn't look like anybody's too eager to come down. Larry Jackson will in the Superior Propane, number 84. And there is Connor Bell. No surprise there that Connor Bell was going to come in. You knew with that damage on the front end, they're going to have at least a look at the air getting into the front end. It doesn't look like the air inlet to the radiator is damaged. Just
there's a lot of air inlet. This will be the hard part. So he's keeping the wall out the left side window. He can see out the driver's window to see that he's along the wall. It will be very challenging for him to try to pull into his pit stall because he has no visibility to the right.
And there he is, and he gets...
Gingerly.
Yes, exactly. He doesn't want to pull in too quickly. And you can see the whole front end is caved down, so it's affected the whole front bumper of that car. They go to work pulling the pins on the hinges and pulling the pins on the front of the hood. So now it's how do we tie this thing up so it's not going to fall off?
It looks like it's pretty sturdy. You know, they give it a pull and make sure it's still attached to the pieces it needs to be attached to.
It just went over the bumper. I mean, he just submarined underneath the 47 of LP Dumoulin and essentially pushed the WeatherTech Dodge into the back of Alex Tagliani. That's how that chain reaction worked. But that's how we get the damage on the Diamond number 3.
Some debris in turn number 3 is being addressed. Now we've got Josh Hurley back at the front of the field. We need Dave Corsall up to the 2nd spot. No, we don't. Marc-Antoine. Yeah, Marc-Antoine was 2nd.
Yeah, Dave Corsall will start in 3rd. Kyle Steckley in 4th. Alex Tagliani, LP Dumoulin. And then the cars that obviously went to pit lane will not be able to resume their spot, so they give up their position on track to head down pit lane and get some service done.
Boy, Gary Klut's got to be thinking, man, why did that happen? What a restart he had.
He sure did. I mean, he's way back right now in, where is Gary Klutz? He is currently 4th, so not way back, but still, he was in 2nd spot and chasing the race leader when the caution came out.
Yeah, but he won't restart 4th. This is going to be at least Josh Hurley, Marc-Antoine Cameron, Dave Corsall, Kyle Steckley,
yeah.
Alex Tagliani, all ahead of him. I believe LP Dumoulin also was ahead of him. Sam Fellows back there. That car looks to be in good shape. You can see a lot of damage. Dexter Stacy with some damage on the front of his car. none of it is terminal, none of it is serious, but there's been quite a bit of contact on that last restart.
Yeah, for sure. And you're right. I just refreshed my timing and scoring. It had frozen up. 7th place is Gary Clute. So, yeah, he's going to restart. Glenn Stires just went off the racetrack down the back straightaway. What happened?
Just jumped over the back end of the car in front of him. Up into the outside wall, goes to 0 just before turn number 8.
So Stires was the free pass car and was coming up to pass the entire field to take his spot at the front. And now we have another reason for a caution here on the back chute. So we're going to get a chance to look at it again. Oh! So it was JP Bergeron who was warming up his tires and sort of ducked out of line, didn't realize that the 0 was coming up with a full head of steam, and you could see air underneath the 4 tires of Glenn Stires. He got that high up in the air.
And that's the free pass. I would have thought he would have been up in position well before he attempted to. We'll see what the damage is like on the JP Bergeron number 1. What a peculiar series of events here late in the going in the CarGurus 200.
There's a lot of things coming up on bingo here that you didn't have on your card when we were at green earlier this afternoon. As we continue under caution, and again, these laps count. As slow as they are, we're down to 8 to go now, and we'll need a cleanup down the back straightaway for the stricken 0 of Glenn Stires. We saw him moving around in the cockpit, so he appears to be okay. As Alex Gannett did take the advantage and went down pit lane, so he'll get some fresh new tires on the left side of the 39.
So we are going to go red flag. You can see damage right to the driver's door of the one at JP Bergeron, and I would be concerned about the left rear.
Oh, looks like Glenn's going to try and drive it back. How's that for the structural integrity of the race car that he's driving? Damage to the front end, damage to the back end, and away he goes. We're going to have another look at this, and you'll see how high this car gets off the ground. He'll make contact with Bergeron right there. Look at that.
Wow.
Up in the air. It's got to be clear off the ground by about 1.5 feet, maybe even 2 feet off the ground. And then it sort of lands all flat. That's an open wheel series incident.
Yes, Glenn Stires is an esteemed member of the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame, and he deserves to be there based on a stellar dirt sprint car racing career, based on a stellar promotional career as the track owner of Ohsweken Speedway. He has had some of the most spectacular accidents you have ever seen.
For sure. In a sprint car, I think this is the first time he's had a spectacular accident here in a stock car.
My goodness, there is some debris you can see on the racetrack. It might just be rubber.
Could be. Yeah, there wasn't any debris that fell off after that contact with the 1 of Bergeron. And again, you see, yeah, there's tire marks right up the middle of the door of Bergeron. Yeah, they're just cleaning up some of the dirt and the grass, but it doesn't appear as though too much fell off the 1 car. And Glenn Stires, no leaks. Oil's all intact, everything's good, and we'll drive it right back. The crew is trying to fix up. There's some suspension damage, no surprise, to the right front corner of the GSR 0. And the crew is going to work trying to get that repaired.
And the shame there is that Glenn was having a really good day.
He was. He was flirting with the inside of the top point. And he kind of said today would be a good day if he sort of finished mid-pack. That's what his goal was. So he was looking for around 15th, 16th. Yep. And he was pretty excited with the car that he had. They did some testing with it. And he thought that, you know what, if I can be mid-pack today, that'll be an awesome day. And he was headed towards that. He was realistically in that position. There you can see the GSR hauler, great big GSR branding. And Glenn is you know, behind the scenes, outside of the NASCAR Canada Series, outside of sprint car racing, Glenn is a huge supporter of all forms of motorsports. There have been so many grassroots series who have been like, you know, we need a little bit of financial help. And Glenn will say, how much do you need? He'll just come to their aid, and it's so cool to see. So there's a lot of series in Ontario that are now presented by GSR. So it's, you know, whatever it might be, presented by GSR, and that is because of Glenn Stiers just being a race fan.
In his words, to use his words, he says, I just want to be a small part of as many people's success as I can. And he supports a lot of individual racers. If you're a fan of racing in the winter, the Chili Bowl is one of the biggest events. It's an indoor dirt race in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I think he supported about 10 different drivers in that race. Just wants to be a part of it. He loves the sport.
He's still in the car. The window net is down, and that's an indication to the NASCAR officials that he's okay in the event of an incident. So it's obviously put that window net down. They haven't got around to putting it back up, but they're trying to get that right front put back together so Glenn Stiers can come through and complete the laps. We'll take another quick break, still under caution in the CarGurus 200. And welcome back to the CarGurus 200 here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. I'm Dave Bradley. Joined with me in the booth is Adam Ross. And short of locusts moving in, I'm pretty sure we've seen it all in this race.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
I just wanted to get that out there right now. But, yeah, we've seen a lot of interesting things happen over the course of this race. As we're still, well, once they cross the stripe, it'll be 6 laps to go as we continue under caution as Larry Jackson heads down pit lane once again.
When you look down at the number of laps complete, does that look like 44 or 11?
It looks like 11 on our screen, but it is 44.
Right. I'm just saying, it doesn't take a lot to confuse me. And numbers that look like other numbers are not convenient.
It's true. We look through, and the field coming across the stripe to click off another lap. So now at 45 laps completed. And Josh Hurley is still your leader. Again, we go back to that restart that was kind of a botch job, a restart. There was a lot of contact, a lot of torn up fiberglass because of that restart, but it got essentially waved off because we had a caution.
There is a tactic in short track racing. When you're in a start or a restart side by side and you feel like you've been taken advantage of, you don't go. So if you're the one who's supposed to set the pace, you're the pole setter, you fire first, and someone else does you dirty, so to speak. You just don't go.
You want to make it obvious.
Exaggerate.
Yeah,
it makes it obvious that the wrong thing happened. I can't imagine someone doing that in road racing with the background of Josh Hurley, but I could see some of our guys doing that to exaggerate it. Like, I just can't picture the mindset. So I wonder if did something happen to the car?
It could be. I mean, essentially, the rule is that the leader is the control car, and the leader controls when they go. If they reach the Pinty's restart zone and they reach a depth of the Pinty's restart zone, so if they go too far, eventually the starter will start it and just throw the green flag and away they go. I don't believe that had happened at that point. And the 24 was still sort of holding that pace and controlling that pace.
So if you picture the front straightaway leading up to the flag stand, there's a double line painted on the wall. That double line is the start of the restart zone. About 20 feet after that, there's a single line. That is the end of the restart zone you were talking about. So the leader can fire anytime. As soon as he or she gets to the double lines, the leader can take off and they can choose all the way to the single line. Once they get to the single line, the flagman's going to wave the green flag no matter what. Don't wait till the single line. It's probably a bad idea.
Good advice.
You lose your advantage.
Yeah.
I didn't see how that worked out. We're about to have the choose rule on the back straightaway. Let's see if anything changes If I'm Kyle Steckley, I just would rather be behind the 96 than the 24.
So we know that Josh Hurley chose the inside the last time, and the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron went to the outside. It paid off well. Had we stayed green, Cameron would have been out in front. So Hurley again goes to the inside, and again the 96 of Cameron goes to the outside, and it looks like the 54 of Dave Courcelle is going to go to the outside as well.
Dave Courcelle thinks the same thing I do. He'd rather be behind the 96. Kyle Steckley didn't have that choice. Now it makes sense. Why did I not see that the first time?
It's true, but just like we said in that first restart, it does put old tires, Josh Hurley, and old tires in Dave Courcelle, essentially blocking up both lanes. You don't have one lane that might be, the old tire lane on the inside. You've got both now, just separated by one lane.
If I'm Josh Hurley, though, I'm starting before the restart zone. I am not waiting for the double lines. They're coming into turn number 10 right now. As soon as I feel like I'm within 10 feet of those double lines, I am on my way.
Yeah, they're coming into the Pinty's restart zone now, and you can see the RPMs picking up. You can see Marc-Antoine Cameron holding back just a little bit. He doesn't want to be caught this time. He'll actually tuck in behind the 24, headed towards turn number 1.
A great tactical move by Cameron, knowing that Courcelle was behind him on some older tires, so he's be a little more worried about Kyle Steckley than Courcelle. Now he's going to make a move to the outside in turn number 2 of Hurley in the 24. Put Cameron out in front. Kyle Steckley and Hurley come close to making contact in turn 2.
Gary Kloop way up on the outside in turn number 2. He has been the big loser in this one, unable to get around the 54 of Dave Courcelle, and he has slid back the running order. He was trapped in behind, and cars just kept moving around. He tried to make a really wide move, and he has fallen back tremendously. Looking back in the front, here comes Bergeron to the inside of Josh Hurley. Contact in through 5A, and again contact coming out of 5B.
Hurley squeezed JP Bergeron down the racetrack. Bergeron goes up over the rumble strips. Did everything but slow down. Now Josh Hurley right up on the back bumper of the one of Bergeron. Sam Fellows has moved to the right side of the racetrack looking for racing room. He's got Gary Kloop right behind him as they race down towards turn number 8.
It's a drag race into turn number 8. Look at the bodywork flapping on the E-Racer number 1 of JP Bergeron as Sam Fellows completes the pass in the AER number 87. The rest of the field comes through as well.
Trouble in turn 10. Hurley goes around. This is going to eat some race cars.
Oh, this is a big one. There's another car spun around. It looks like Dexter Stacy. Hurley's in the wall. Will LaRue is another one. David Thorndike stopped to avoid everything, but there you can see the cars trying to get righted. Will LaRue is the first one to get going. Caution flies again because there's a car stopped up against the inside wall, and it's Kevin Lacroix who made contact with the inside wall off of turn number 10.
Let's march through that situation, and Kevin Lacroix already has the window net down on that 74. He is ready to move on to Autodrome Chaudière in 3 weeks. It was a trio of cars 3 wide.
Oh, it was Will LaRue way to the inside, and again, he was going to try and pass Dexter Stacy, but Stacy went out to try and pass the 24 of Hurley, and they all went around, and then the 74 of Kevin Lacroix had nowhere to go and hammered the 8 car of Dexter Stacy, obviously breaking that right front corner again and ending up against the front wall.
So Dexter Stacy was making a racing move on Josh Hurley. That's pretty normal. Come out of turn number 9, make a move into turn 10. Kevin Lacroix uses the hood of his race car as a ramp to walk up on and across pit road. Tough day for that driver from St. Eustache, Quebec. Will LaRue had a run. Made it 3 wide going into turn number 10. So Dexter Stacy was about halfway up Josh Hurley's car. Will LaRue got to about halfway up Dexter Stacy's car, but that's a tough one for a spotter. It's a tough one for a driver to acknowledge.
And there is the potential, too, that Will LaRue went to ask for brake, and at this point in the race, brakes are glazed. They've been superheated during those longer green flag runs that we have had over the course of the day. he might have thought there would be brakes there, and maybe they just didn't respond like he thought they might.
The aftermath of that collision was absolutely bananas, because you don't realize how fast cars are going at the exit of turn 10 until we saw 2 cars wide try to fit through a space that was only about 1 car wide. Don't watch the accident, watch the aftermath. Fan out 3 wide, here's the accident. 3 cars don't fit. Once the C's part, wow.
Oh, Gannett got a piece of it too.
Yes, that's who that was. Kevin Lacroix and Alex Gannett tried to squeeze through a tight opening at the same time, and there just wasn't enough opening there. Obviously, Kevin Lacroix's car broke. He came to a stop on the front straightaway. We do not know how serious the damage is to Alex Gannett.
If at all. I mean, he did take a significant run, and you saw the front end sort of hop up as he caught wheels. But there's your top 5. So it's Cameron, Steckley, Tagliani, Dumoulin, and Sam Fellows with Gary Kloot.
Maybe.
It'll likely be changed. But on the initial restart, Gary Kloot got behind Dave Coursol. And when we talked about Dave Coursol, the old tires, not being able to make that car stick quite as good, everybody else seemed to find an avenue to get around the 54 cleanly. The 71 could not, and he essentially threw the anchor and was going to the back in a hurry. Tried to go out wide on turn number 2, and that failed as he got out in the dirt. So Gary Kloot is probably pretty thankful that this caution happened at this point.
So I would agree with that. Keep in mind, a full course caution came out before the field went by, so they've got to go back to the last completed lap. We're going to watch this restart again.
So this is the one that the most recent restart. So this is the one with Hurley and Cameron. And you can see Cameron tucking in behind. So he's a little bit slower off of turn number 10, knowing full well that Josh Hurley might be the one to run a little slower into the Pinty's restart zone.
He changed lanes before the start-finish line. And I'll bet you that's why the officials wanted to see that restart again.
So the 96 moved to the inside. And so that would be your race leader who could be potentially facing a penalty.
Hey, yeah, potentially.
You got to stay in your lane to cross the start-finish line, and
right.
then it's game on for racing. But we know the 17 of DJ Kennington has been promoted to the free pass car, so he'll get the wave around to be put back onto the tail end of the lead lap. That should put him up to about 18th position.
This is going to be an overtime finish, ladies and gentlemen. 48 laps are complete. It'll be 49 this time. And they come by, they're still working on clearing the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. Pit road has not opened under this yellow. DJ Kennington, remember we said it's how you deal with circumstances and how you overcome obstacles. That is how you build a championship season. Let's remember this moment for DJ Kennington. Yeah. Because this puts him back on the lead lap, correct?
Yeah, and the ability to gain some positions now. So whatever happens in front, as long as he keeps his nose clean, again, those are points to the good after what looked to be a written-off day early on in this event. I mean, when you have no power steering and you're still staring at about 35 laps to go in this one, it's going to be a long day, but they've persevered and just been chipping at it. So yeah, this will put the 17 back in the lead lap.
The other thing this does, because they are allowing the free pass car to pass the caution car at the start finish line, not where we've seen in the past on the back straightaway, DJ Kennington will be able to catch the field on this restart. Normally, if you get a free pass, you need another yellow in order to catch the field on a road course to be able to take advantage.
So still lined up behind the Chevrolet Corvette pace car from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And we talk about Marc-Antoine Cameron and the career he's had in the NASCAR Canada Series, a 3-time series champion, 2 of those coming back-to-back in the most recent 2 years, the first driver to ever go back-to-back. But let's talk a little bit about his crew chief, Robin McCluskey, who is a quiet force in that pit area for that GM Paille number 96, as there goes the 74 of Kevin Lacroix, hood up and on the flatbed. So a frustrating day ends a little bit early for Kevin Lacroix, but Robin McCluskey has 5 championships to his credit, 3 of those coming with that 96 team.
And he's one of the least aggressive people I've ever met. Like, there's a lot of humility in Robin McCluskey.
Yeah, just quietly goes to work. If you've ever seen him during a practice session, and I always find that really interesting, to go down to the paddock area during a practice session and you see what the teams are doing and how they're reacting. Robin McCluskey is one who just goes to work. He doesn't yell and scream. He just he opens the hood. He'll turn some bolts with some wrenches, make adjustments to the car, and then close the hood, send the car back out. He'll quietly instruct the crew what to do, but there's never any yelling or screaming. It's all very steady hand leading of the 96 team.
They have a very clear game plan when they show up to the track. Practice time is limited. So they know, I believe Mark told me they ran 3 different sets of tires yesterday. They wanted to see how they would respond, if there was any difference in them. Those are the sort of things you really have to plan before you go out there. Here's what we're going to do when we come in after this session.
Yeah, that's not a whim. You don't just go, oh, we should try this the next set of tires and see what they do. No, you know exactly what you are going to do. As you see the flapping fiberglass from the 80 of Alex Tagliani continues to flap in the wind. It's a parachute for him. There's highlights from earlier on in this event as we continue under an extended caution period. This was a great battle early on between Marc-Antoine Cameron and the number 71 of Gary Clute.
Great side-by-side battle down through turn number 4 into 5, where Cameron got the advantage, got around Gary Clute. Now action in turn 10, where Sam Fellows gets some contact from Will LaRue in the 45 and spins around.
Connor Bell was on a charge in the early going, getting around the E-Racer number 1 of J.P. Bergeron. Bergeron was involved in another incident later on, but again, there was a good dice midway through this one between the 71 of and the 47 of LP Dumoulin. Then Josh Hurley started to move up through the field, and he took advantage, sitting in the lead for a little bit. Matthew Kingsbury ran into some trouble in turn number 8, the Dur King Chevrolet, so that pulled out a caution, and that's pretty much what started this. And we've just had what they say is cautions breed cautions, and never been a fan of that saying, but in this case, it's true, as we've had everything happen, including Glenn Stiers taking a flying leap off the back tire of the 1 of J.P. Bergeron.
So we'll give you an update, race fans. Marc-Antoine Cameron has been penalized to the tail end of the field in the GM Paille number 96 for changing lanes prior to the start-finish line on the last restart. As we have a look at the most recent yellow, boy, Connor Bell did a great job. A number of drivers did a really good job to avoid that track. Easily could have been blocked off completely.
Yeah. It was one of those cases, I think, the drivers just sort of hold their breath and think small to get through that packed exit of turn number 10 and avoid major damage. So, yes, the 96 is dropping to the back. There is the 8 car. The Bullies truck stop number 8 of Dexter Stacy. And they have some body damage dragging on the ground, so they'll get that cleaned up and try and send Dexter Stacy back out. But Cameron is sliding to the back, but very, very slowly, and I think he's trying to merge in there at that point.
Yeah, we'll see how he winds up. This is the 1 to go, so we'll be able to choose on the back straightaway. This will be a green-white checker overtime finish, and hopefully it'll be the first of only one overtime finish.
As soon as they see the white flag, as soon as the leader takes the white flag, that is where they consider it an official finish. So essentially that's what they have to get to. I saw Alex Gannett waving out of his car, so he's in behind the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron, and I think he wants the 96 to keep falling a little bit further back and would like to be promoted, please and thank you.
Well, we will see how this goes. I'm not sure.
If you look at where he's merged, it is essentially he's dropped from
He's
first.
Gone. He has now
he's
stopped on the backstretch to get to the back. And drivers have very limited means to protest on the racetrack.
True.
They'll stay beside somebody else. We have communication with spotters, with crew chiefs. There are officials in the pits, there are officials in the spotter stand. So the old days of protesting running order are supposed to be over. But I think Cameron was probably protesting there, showing that he didn't agree with the decision. But there comes a time you've got to heed the official's warning.
It's usually a last message saying, you need to do what we're saying or we're going to stop scoring you. And here comes the choose rule out of turn number 7 between turns 7 and 8. So Steckley to the inside, Tag to the outside, and then it's Dumoulin and Fellows will make up row number 2.
Alex Gannett and Connor Bell just made up a little bit of ground, choosing the outside. So boy, oh boy, Kyle Steckley out in front, Alex Tagliani, who is going to compete for a driver's championship. He would love to win here. LP Dumoulin's got to feel great about his performance. Do not forget Sam Fellows was scorned last year. He had a shot at a win. It went away. He is in a great position here starting in row number 2. NASCAR overtime coming right up.
Into the Pinty's restart zone they go, and the green flag is up, headed towards turn number 1. There's contact already as they run side by side between Tagliani on the outside and Kyle Steckley down low.
Gary Clute trying to get aggressive, looking for racing room alongside Sam Fellows. Fellows in the 4-spot, problems out in front. Alex Tagliani goes around hard into the wall in turn number 2.
They made contact. Steckley and Tagliani made contact going into turn number 2, and Tagliani, the loser in that one, as he ends up against the wall on the outside of turn number 2. Not a spot where you would see a crash happen often. And now Gary Clute and Kyle Steckley start rubbing tires.
Full course yellow.
That'll put an end to this battle at the front, but yeah, where Tagliani's car was, you can't continue racing at speed. You can see the back end completely torn off of that number 80.
And all we saw was the smoke.
Well, I saw as they were entering, so between turns 1 and 2, as they were just going to enter turn 2, I saw Steckley and Tag come together fairly hard. It was a fairly abrupt side to side. They were both essentially door handle to door handle. Nobody had an advantage. And one was turning in, the other one was turning out, and it came together fairly hard. So it looks like that was enough to upset Tagliani, because shortly after, all we saw was the smoke and then the results of it. Let's take another look at what exactly did happen. Here's through turn number 1. And here's the contact. There.
Yeah, Tagliani kind of moved out to try to get a better arc into turn 2.
Steckley ran way off into that runoff area.
Well, he had to
hang on to it.
Safety officials are with Alex Tagliani right now. We will update you on that situation just as soon as we have word.
That's a hard lick there, too, because it is a concrete wall. There's no tire wall there. Again, it's not a spot where you often come off the racetrack.
And he went from the other side of the track all the way across.
Yeah. Tagliani visited Victory Lane driving an M-Zone Radical Cup car, so he has some laps under his belt already today. Drank a lot of electrolytes to build up his stamina for this race as well, and was looking to make it 2 for 2. And unfortunately, this one's going to end up on the hook.
So we'll try to paint you this picture again. Kyle Steckley was on the inside. Alex Tagliani was on the outside through turn number 1. And they were very equal coming off the corner. So Steckley now becomes on the outside as they race down towards the left-hand turn number 2. Tagliani, from what it appeared, tried to cross over into the racing line. They were side by side. Tagliani, it looked like, tried to use up the gap between his car and Kyle Steckley's car. and that's when contact was made because Steckley didn't give. Steckley didn't move over at all. I don't know if Alex would have expected him to or not, but that's where the contact started.
And you have to think of where Tagliani was coming over the crest of turn number 2. That's such a difficult corner to navigate as a driver. You think how low these drivers sit in these race cars. You're coming over that crest, or at least coming to the top of it. I think Alex Tagliani thought he was being run off the road to the inside, so he wanted to position himself further out to get a better arc into the corner and not run through the grass and have what happened happen, but unfortunately made contact with the 22, and it looks like just sort of a wrestling match over real estate, and it ended badly for the 80 car of Alex Tagliani, as Kyle Steckley was able to hang on. He had the luxury of having that runoff there. I mean, several years ago, that would have been grass, and Kyle Steckley would have been into a tire wall at the very least.
And that's just hard racing. And you know, some of them have had a tough day out there. Like that dog we're looking at right now. It's a dog's life.
It is a dog's life, as some of the dogs are wondering at this point. Let's see some green flag racing, but still working on getting Alex Tagliani out of that race car, and there he comes climbing out under his own power, which is absolutely fantastic news to see Tag moving around and being helped into the ambulance. So it looks like he's okay.
Yeah, always great when the driver can climb out under their own power. Tagliani clearly a little stiff, a little rigid as he walks over towards the ambulance. A bit of a hobble in his step as he climbs into the back of the ambulance, and he will get a ride back to the paddock area. Man, that's how important victories are.
But you talked about it too, about the speed that these cars are carrying around this track. And again, if you only come to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park and this is your normal, for drivers who visit here every once in a while, this is one of the fastest purpose-built road courses in the world. It's unbelievable. I talk to sports car drivers and they say, CTMP is unlike any other track we race. You carry more speed over the course of a lap. There's more flat-out corners than there is anywhere else. There's no real slowdowns. There's turn 5, but even there you're carrying a ton of speed.
There's more fast corners and there's more blind corners.
Exactly.
With elevation. And what we mean by blind, even turn number 1, the wall is so tall, you cannot see what is beyond turn 1 when you're racing through that at breakneck speed. Same with turn 2. Yep. You cannot see what's down there. And how would that have felt for all these drivers? All you see is a plume of smoke. You might not see what's going on, but you know it's not good.
Yeah, and you're about to enter it, and you know, at speed. So it looks like Sam Fellows did get some damage to the nose of that car. At some point, we didn't see where that had happened, whether it was at around the time when Steckley and Tagliani made contact. But Sam Fellows is a tall guy. He doesn't sit necessarily too tall in that car, but I think he's still comfortable seeing over that AER hood.
I think sightline will be fine. What won't be fine is if that hood catches wind and flies up in front of the windshield. It looks like the hood pins, though, are still attached. I want to have a second look. They have to be, because otherwise the hood would already be flying up.
Yeah.
What an eventful day. Gary Clute, who was battling side by side for the lead with Kyle Steckley, looks like will be slid back to the 4th spot. Alex Gannett, who was had a big piece of that crash at the exit of turn number 10, is in the top 5.
JP Bergeron had a car fly off his back wheel. He's still inside the top 10, currently sitting in 5th spot. So yeah, there's a lot of drivers who have had very eventful days over the course of the afternoon here today. And we're in still NASCAR overtime, and it will be essentially a green-white checker to finish off this CarGurus 200 at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And fans, we appreciate you sticking with us through this one as we look to get the final result completed. Look at Glenn Stiers is back out there in the GSR car. They made the repairs needed to the right front of that car after he took the high jump award here today. And he's still back out turning laps. So kudos to the GSR crew for getting that car back out there.
Yeah, there's no quit in them, and that team is led by Jeff Lapsevich, Ryden Lapsevich involved as well. Let us see as we scroll down through the running order. Andrew Ranger timing and scoring 20th. Jacques Gannett 21st. Then a number of drivers a lap down. Glenn Stiers is a few laps down.
David Thorndike in the 67. There's a great gentleman driver, comes out with the NASCAR Canada Series every time they stop here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, currently sitting in 23rd spot. So that's not a bad afternoon for that team, that crew. Picks up a lot of short track racers from the area to help crew over the course of the afternoon, and they've done a bang-up job. And just knocking on the door of a top 20 finish for David Thorndike.
Let's tell you another success story, and you won't believe it. Kevin Lacroix finishes 27th today. He should have been dead last. That car failed on the pace lap, and that crew went to work, and they gained him 5 spots. 5 spots at the back of the field is just as good as the difference between finishing second or 7th. That's 5 positions that may come in handy later in this season. So way to not give up to that race team, Kevin Lacroix and his group.
He fell 1 lap short, too. He had Sylvain Ouellette, who's just a lap ahead of him, so he could have had another one. That's why he was equally frustrated as he marched off to the trailer. But caution continues. It looks like the 80 car has been tidied up in turn number 2. It's up on the flatbed, the rollback, and it's being taken back to the paddock area. So he had a lot of damage from an earlier incident, fiberglass damage especially, but this really sort of finished it off. You see the back bumper is completely gone as he hit the concrete wall fairly abruptly in turn number 2, just the entrance to turn number 2.
We've had cars crash in spots that we don't often see cars crash this weekend. There's a lot of tire barriers here, the exit of turn 3, down in turn 5, and those are there because they're common places for cars to have accidents. We saw Keith Bean yesterday hit the wall between turn 2 and 3, very, very hard. We saw Alex Tagliani hit the wall on the outside of turn number 2, in fact, the outside of really the straightaway between turns 1 and 2. And we've seen some drivers, look at Dave Corsall in the 54, John Tomlinson in the 48. Those cars are clean, very few marks on them, really good drive by these drivers. So it has been a trying day for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, it really has. There'll be a lot of work needed on some of these cars, but others have had a decently clean day and will come through with a good finish here once we go back to green. We'll have another look at the replay involving the 80 of Alex Tagliani, but we'll be able to see in this one the 87 of Sam Fellows. There's the blue car of Sam Fellows, and there's Tagliani sliding off. And there. So it looks like Fellows may have gotten into the back of Dumoulin.
Dumoulin saw what was happening.
And checked up.
Dropped the anchor. Fellows wouldn't have seen exactly what was going on.
And Dumoulin might as well paint a target on the back of his car because that's the second time he's been rooted. The first time was by Connor Bell. And now he got another knock from the 87 of Sam Fellows, but we are in NASCAR overtime, and remember, some of these drivers stopped relatively early for fuel. Now fuel becomes a question mark.
LP Dumoulin and Gary Clute, I believe, the two that stopped pretty darn early.
They did. So now they're wondering and watching and doing their calculations and thinking, is this going to start sputtering as we start leaning into these high-speed corners? Because the fuel does sort of, there's a foam inside the fuel cell, but it still sloshes through that foam and might go into a corner that's hard to reach for the fuel pickup.
We will find out. Race director Steve Salvas explaining the restart rules again. You have the restart zone, the double white lines, the single white line. You have to go between those two spots as the leader. So 1 to go at the start-finish line. When they get to the backstretch, they're going to execute the choose rule. Daryl Timmers, 9th place in the 85. They had engine issues as soon as they got to the racetrack, catastrophic engine issues. They had to change motors. Things had not gone particularly well all weekend long, but there he is in the top 10. Ron Tomlinson with the 10th place run. Dave Corsall 11th. Dominic Scrivo 12th.
Can I just point out, too, that the number 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron is in 15th position. And DJ Kennington, as we mentioned, his trials and tribulations he's had today, he's back on the lead lap, currently in 14th position. So there you go. Work hard on the issues that you might be facing for DJ Kennington and that Castrol crew to come back. And you're just outside the top 10, sitting in 14th spot. Marc-Antoine Cameron still has lots of gas left in that 96, so watch for him to improve a number of spots as well.
It's all going to go down next time at the stripe. Once they get down the backstretch, did they slow the pace car down?
I don't know.
It feels like
saving fuel, maybe. Potentially, that could be a thing. The teams are weaving back and forth to try and get as much heat in these McCreary tires as they possibly can. But again, keeping in the back of their head, you don't want to stomp on the gas too much and heat up that Gulf fuel that remains in the tank, because for some of these drivers, the fuel might be getting a little bit thin. It's kind of like when you see how many kilometers you have left on your dash when you're driving home from the racetrack. These drivers are starting to see 4, 3, or maybe even 0.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the places I've run out of gas. But I will say this, the most embarrassing place had to be the Tim Hortons drive-through, where I had to push my car through. And it's one of those that has a corner, and to push it around the corner, son of a gun.
Stop for your fuel instead of the car's fuel at the old drive-through.
Listen, 20 kilometers before it said I had 40 kilometers left.
Yeah.
I took them at their word.
It was more of a guess gauge than a gas gauge at that point.
They let me down.
So we'll see the head come out of the window of the pace car. And the pace car driver indicates this is the time that you need to make your choice and fan out for the choose rule. So now we have Kyle Steckley and we have LP Dumoulin. That's going to be your top 2. So I'm going to get Steckley to the inside, LP Dumoulin to the outside. But what does Sam Fellows do? He's been happy with the outside in turn number 1 before. Sets him up for a good spot in turn number 2.
Yeah, tough decision for sure. Who do you want to hitch your wagon to? Kyle Steckley or LP Dumoulin?
And so there's the pace car coming up to that choose indicator on the racetrack. And so, yeah, Steckley to the inside. Oh, Sam Fellows goes to the inside with Steckley. And it looks like JP Bergeron is going to opt to be on the outside rather than choosing the inside. You're seeing a lot of drivers choosing the outside lane.
I think Timmers might have made up some ground there on that choose.
I think so too, because yeah, a few drivers in front all went single file up to the outside lane, and that left the inside lane wide open. And that's the beauty of this choose rule. If you think your car works best on the inside or the outside, go ahead, give it a shot. It
moved Daryl Timmers from 9th to 7th. He will restart on the inside of row number 4. Overtime, take 2. Kyle Steckley and LP Dumoulin lead them off of turn number 10.
Into the Pinty's restart zone once again. The green flag is up, and it's a land rush start deeper in the field.
Yeah, they fanned out 3 wide, not sure why, but the battle at the front is door to door. Kyle Steckley on the right, LP Dumoulin on the left as they race down towards turn 2.
Look at Gary Clute, how hungry the driver, the 71 is. He is lurking in behind this side-by-side battle for the lead. Steckley will have the inside lane turn number 3. A little bit of contact, just a slight run with the 47, and now Kloot's going to fill the hole as Dumoulin goes back to 3rd.
The long back straightaway is going to play a big role here as Kyle Steckley leads them down through turn number 4, turn number 5. They've got to get through here clean and get back on the throttle.
Gary Kloot was one of those drivers who stopped very early, so they have question marks over the amount of Gulf fuel left in that fuel cell. He's tucked up and in behind the 22. Did the 22 sputter out of turn number 5 because Kloot got a huge run to the outside.
There was a little bit of contact on the back end from Kloot to the back end to Kyle Steckley. Kloot around the outside. He'll take the lead into turn number 8.
Kyle Steckley, though, pins it to the inside in turn number 8. He didn't want to go away without a fight, and he'll ease it through turn number 9. They're nose to tail. Steckley a little bit loose on the exit of 9. Can't put together that run through 10 as they'll head on to the front straightaway. And this time by, we'll see the white flag.
Sam Fellows into the pits. What a tough break for a driver looking for a podium finish. LP Dumoulin has made a move on Kyle Steckley down into turn 1.
Kloot out in front by a significant margin now as Dumoulin takes over 2nd spot. Kyle Steckley slots into 3rd. The battle behind is a little bit too spaced out as the leader continues to be the Autologic number 71 of Gary Kloot. He's comfortably out in front. We haven't been able to say that all day.
Now it is a fuel mileage race. Does Kloot have enough gas in the tank to get to the end of this CarGurus 200? LP Dumoulin trying to close in. Alex Gannett to the inside of Ryan Kloot. That's a battle for a good top 10 spot. In fact, a top 5 position.
Yeah, Gannett got into the 42 of Ryan Kloot a little bit in the middle of turn 5A and B. But now a drag race down the straightaway. He's got some body work flopping on the 39 as they head towards turn number 8. He'll have the preferred spot on the inside, and looks like Gannett will take over 5th spot from Ryan Kloot. But off of turn number 10 or through turn number 9 and heading towards turn number 10 will be the 71 of Gary Kloot. He's come so close in the last few years. But the win in the CarGurus 200 goes to the 71 of Gary Kloot.
What a battle further back. Connor Bell, DJ Kennington, Andrew Ranger, Marc-Antoine Cameron, everybody jockeying for position. Daryl Timmers turned his fastest lap on the final lap of that race to take home a 7th place result. But the smiling assassin, Gary Kloot, who had implored during post-race interviews just once it would be nice to race clean to the finish, he got his wish.
Yeah, he raced clean and everybody around him finished clean as well. Look at that car. There's barely a mark on it. Gary Kloot, a brand new number in 2026 and new luck here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park as he takes home the win here in race number 1 of the NASCAR Canada Series. As he eases it through, you can see the window net is down already. He's waving to the crowd on his way back down the Andretti straightaway to the marshals as well. Strong run put in by LP Dumoulin as well. And a number of other top 10 runners. Will LaRue was involved in a couple incidents over the course of the day. Connor Bell finishes without a hood and still comes home inside the top 10. And how about DJ Kennington? They had no power steering early in this event. They went to work, fixed it, fell back a lap, gained a lap, and then comes home in 10th spot. DJ Kennington in the Castrol Dodge putting on a heck of a points run here today for that team. Alex Gannett also had his issues, fell off the lead lap, and came back up into the top 5 in the 39. And then other drivers who are only running part-time schedules. Ryan Kloot, JP Bergeron, inside the top 10. As Gary Kloot will come around and collect the Gulf Fuels checkered flag, being held by official starter Mike Charret. So we'll take a look at the final running order. We've got, of course, the top three settling in as they were on the track. And there's Gannett in fourth spot. Ryan Clute, J.P. Bergeron. Timmers, again, turned his quickest lap on the last lap of the race. And then Will LaRue, Connor Bell, and DJ Kennington. Cameron, a salvaged 11th here. Dave Courceau was one of the drivers who gambled on tires, who finished just outside the top 10. Simon Charbonneau, Dexter Stacey had a very torn-up race car at one point. And then Ron Tomlinson coming home in 15th position. As we go through the running order, Josh Hurley led for a little bit. He'll come home in 16th. And then Dominic Scrivo, Sam Fellows, being forced to make that pit stop late in this race, will drop him all the way down to 18th as he was flirting with a potential podium position. Andrew Ranger, disappointing day for him in 19th spot. Matthew Kingsbury, Jacques Gannett, and then David Thorndike, Larry Jackson, and the drivers who ran into some issues: Alex Tagliani, Glenn Stiers, Sylvain Ouellette, Kevin Lacroix, Jeff Johnson, Malcolm Strawn, Tyler Gonzalez, Brad Ranson, and unable to start this one was the 19 of Keith Bean. So that is your finishing order for the CarGurus 200 for the NASCAR Canada Series here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. We'll take another look at the final restart and what led to where we're at. And there you can see Kyle Steckley and LP Dumoulin. Have a look. There's the 71 of your eventual race winner, Gary Clute, sitting in behind the WeatherTech Dodge. So the AutoLogic IQ number 71 of Gary Clute. It's a tidy restart into the Pinty's restart zone, and there you go. Everybody tightens up, and that's where it got opened up deep in the back, deep in the field. That's where Will LaRue popped his nose out to avoid contact with the car in front. And that's when it started to look like a land rush start, and everybody else sort of fell back in line after that. As the 71 of Gary Clute makes his way around the track. He's got the checkered flag now, doing the old school victory lap. And a big congratulations to Clute and that entire team. John Fletcher, who's the crew chief for that team, he'll be as happy as Gary in victory lane to be reaching this point. And again, this team has come so very, very close. Last year, he was in a position to win. He had a tire go down on him as they were lining up to take a restart. He had to come in and take a late race pit stop, and unfortunately lost a tremendous amount of track position. We've documented the finish with the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. It was tight in behind Gary Clute coming to the line at turn number 10. A little bump and shove out of the way, and that led the 96 to victory lane. And Gary Clute disappointed in the press conference after the race. And this time, yeah, number one for Gary Clute. And he is the smiling assassin just because of that big broad smile and how surgical he can be on the racetrack. But he'll be smiling even bigger in victory lane in just a short little while. Coming all the way down the Andretti straightaway. And see the fans lined up at the fence cheering on Gary Clute, and he'll pull his way down pit lane this time around as he enters into turn 8 and through turn number 9, and will wheel off into pit lane and head towards victory lane, which is in the center infield part of Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. That's where he will stand on the top step of the podium and invite LP Dumoulin, Kyle Steckley to cheer with him. The other top 3 finishers. So what an interesting day as far as points implications go for the 2026 season. Gary Clute has already said he's not going to run a full season. He'll run the road courses, but he's not interested in doing the full 14 race schedule, but he will leave this race with the points lead. LP Dumoulin is the driver who gets the biggest boost coming out of this event. He is running for a championship. So is Alex Guinnett. So LP Dumoulin, coming home second, is poised to be in the best position going into race number 2 at Autodrome Chaudière, which is back on a tight little racy oval. I don't want to say it's too small, but it's a very racy place where you've got 2 good grooves of racing. LP Dumoulin has been good there in the past. Alex Guinnett has been good there in the past too, and he finished 4th. So 2 drivers campaigning the full series in the top 4. And as Gary Clute prepares to hop out, let's head to victory lane with Clinton Jeffrey.
Well, Gary Clute pulls the safety gear off. He'll work on the Hans device and the helmet. He will take the wheel off and get ready to climb out here. It's his first win here since 2015. And as we talked about with John Fletcher, the crew chief, he's a contender here every time. And today it all worked out for him. Here he comes out of the number 71. How about it for Gary Clute? He gets it done. He'll salute the crowd here. And we'll jump in with Verdum. Gary, you've been fast here for a long time. You've won races here in the past. 2015 was the last one. This has got to feel really good for you to finally get back where you belong.
Yeah, I mean, it means the world to me, to John. You know, we've been trying for a long time to get back to victory lane. Means the world to have the support from AutoLogic, from Clean Flow, from Hoffman Plastics, everyone that's, you know, looked after us for the last 11 years since we did this before. And so close so many times, and couldn't be happier.
It's great to see the Gary smile back. Anything concern you about the day? You guys just seem to have the whole thing covered.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, you know, the new tires were different. We kind of winged it, you know, and just took what the race would give us. There's so many variables here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, so many pit stops, green, white, checkered. So you just got to run your own race here.
Good job, Larry. Gary, congrats.
Thanks.
Gary Clute will grab the win here. We'll get over and talk to LP Dumoulin, too. LP, what a drive here today. You almost got this one spot back. How's that feel today?
It feels great. I mean, to be back on the podium at CTMP here. Great organization, great fans. That WeatherTech 47 Omnifab Benmar car was fast. I think we had a shot at the end to get probably the win there, but I didn't see Gary Clute coming because the guys told me they only had 2 left tires. But yeah, he did a great job, and we worked well all together. I think we gave a good show there at the end with Stickley as well. So I want to thank my fans, my team, my sponsors, family, obviously. We want to win. But of course, we want to win another championship as well. So we're on a good track right now.
Heck of a start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
French, LP, French.
Eh bien, oui, écoute, c'est fabuleux. On est content pour la voiture WeatherTech 47 Omnifab Belmont. Donc, la voiture était vraiment bonne. L'équipe a fait un très bon travail dans les arrêts au puits. Vraiment fiers d'eux autres. On pensait à la fin être capable d'aller chercher la victoire. On se battait fort avec Stickley puis Gary Clute. Je ne l'ai pas vu venir trop. Il y avait juste 2 pneus de gauche, lui. Mais il a réussi vraiment là, à faire un bon job. On a bien travaillé ensemble aussi tout le long de la course. Donc, je pense qu'on a donné un bon show aux fans. Il y avait beaucoup de monde ici. C'était très satisfaisant. Donc, c'est un bon début de championnat. On va aller en chercher un autre.
Kyle. Kyle, you're a fierce racer. You had this one in your hand. I know this is crushing you. You know, your day was wild. You almost had one, though, man.
Yeah, for sure. Just so frustrating, but really proud of my MBS Motorsports guys here excavating and everyone who makes this deal possible. I really thought we were going to have this one. We just, those last couple restarts, I didn't have the power those guys had anymore, and I got some right side damage with the exhaust pipes at some point. I think when the 24 was starting in front of us and everything got bunched up. But just really frustrating. I feel we had a super fast car and we had the best strategy there with fresh tires. But end of the day, we'll keep fighting and strong run for the guys and come back in the fall.
His win's coming, guys. The third for Kyle Steckley here today at CTMP. Thanks for watching, everybody, here. It's been a fantastic day. We appreciate you tuning in for today's broadcast.